only kicks off. Jan Stenerud still kicks the field goals. Deep for the Bears, Willie Galt, number 83. Ryan Bashnagel, number 84, and Anthony Hutchison, number 82. Number 32, pardon me, and it's taken by Galt at the 5-yard line. Galt crashes out over the 25 to the 27, and the first man to meet number 37, Mark Murphy for the Pack. The Bears will start offensively with Jim McMahon at quarterback, who had quite a day rushing last week over San Francisco. Suey and Payton. Dennis McKinnon gets to start with Willie Galt at wide receivers. Jim Colbert, Noah Jackson, Jay Hilgenberg, Kurt Becker, Andy Frederick continuing for Keith Van Horn at right tackle, Emery Moorhead the tight end. First down from the Bears' 27-yard line. The Bears in white to our left, the Pack in green to our right. The lights are on at Lambeau Field as the skies are clouding up, but as we mentioned, it's really quite mild by December standards in Green Bay. 28 degrees. Walter Payton and a diving tackle by the linebacker number 55. Randy Scott tripped him up, and then he was closed off at the corner by Mark Murphy, the safety number 37. The Packers defensively, Byron Braggs, Darryl Stogstad starting again on the nose with Ezra Johnson. Charles Johnson, normally the starter on the nose, has an ankle injury. Anderson, Scott, Cumby, and Lewis. Cliff Lewis starting for the suspended Mike Douglas. The secondary has Lee and Lewis, the rookie, on the corners. Johnny Gray and Mark Murphy are the safeties. A loss of about 1.5 yards on first down out of the I formation. The Bears have second down. Payton straight ahead, and he's got a big hole and nearly has a first down, depending on where they mark it. Mark Murphy finally pulled him down, and you could not run that play any more straight ahead than they did.
And he was coming out of the I formation, and they handled the nose man. The Scots had got pushed right out of the way there by the center, number 63, Jay Hilgenberg, and Payton went right up the middle. So the Packers have been vulnerable to the run and the pass. As you know, they're 27th and 28th respectively, so the Bears should be able to move the ball if you go by statistics.
And it is a first down. Walter Payton, as usual, managing to reach that ball out and get the markers from the officials. So it is first down to the Bears. Payton again playing with that bad knee that has bothered him more and more during the course of the season, where he's had to have a little treatment during the week, and it has bothered him. But as usual, he's in uniform and playing like it's 100%. Byron Braggs made the stop on Payton there, a pickup of about 3 for number 34.
And you can see he's been very successful against the Green Bay Packers. He scored more touchdowns against the Packers than any other team during his career. So Payton usually has a big day. Averages 105 yards a game against Green Bay.
It'll be 2nd and 7 from the 41-yard line of Chicago. Opening offensive series. McKinnon and Galt, the wide receivers. Pressure on McMahon. Ezra Johnson has him. First sack of the day goes to number 90 from Morris Brown, the veteran Ezra Johnson, who had 9.5 sacks coming into the game to lead the Pack in that department.
And Ezra Johnson is going to be the key for Green Bay. He's number 90. As you see, he takes the inside rush. McMahon can't find a receiver, so he tries to go out of the pocket, and Johnson has good speed. He doesn't get away from Ezra Johnson. He's got to have a big day today for the Packers to do well defensively. He's their best pass rusher.
Ron Spears, 79. Greg Boyd, 72, have come in to make a 4-man front for the Packers. Dwayne Osteen and Mike Jolly have come into the secondary. The linebackers Scott, Anderson, and Lewis are out of the shotgun. McMahon steps up and is pulled down from behind by Ezra Johnson just as he was about to take off. And last week, McMahon rushed for 74 yards against San Francisco, and it looked like he had some daylight there, but Johnson made sure he got nowhere.
What a super play by Johnson, because he was over to the left there on his pass rush, and McMahon went forward in the pocket, so he stayed with the rush and then turned on that speed and took the dive before McMahon was ready to run up the field. Ezra Johnson, 2 big plays in a row.
4th down, Chicago. Bob Parsons into punt, standing at his 23-yard line. Philip Epps is the lone punt returner, waiting for at the 22-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, opening moments of this all-important contest for the playoff hopes of Green Bay and Chicago. Epps will let it bounce, and it will roll to the 20-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. So Lynn, Dickey and company will have their first offensive opportunity starting from the 20 here at Lambeau Field when we return. 11:26 remaining In the first quarter, there was no score. The offensive team and Coach Mike Ditka, their game plan was to try and keep control of the ball because they do respect this outstanding and explosive Green Bay offense. They were unable to control the ball in the first series. The Pack first down from their own 20. By the 10-yard line. Gary Ellis, the free agent from Missouri, picked up from the Rams in 1980, showing some speed from the running back position.
And you can see the linebacker flow. He goes back against the grain. Dave Dewerson, number 22, misses the tackle here. Nice little straight arm by Ellis. And then he takes off down the field, and he can run. Finally, Todd Bell catches him. And one thing that Lynn Dickey told us yesterday was the fact that they throw so much he doesn't get the ball to Gary Ellis enough, and he might get to him more today. The Bears finally catch up with him and bring him down. The Packers on the drive.
71-yard run by Gary Ellis. First down inside the 10, Green Bay. Harlan Huckleby. Huckleby gets around Wilson and crashes into the end zone. Touchdown. Number 25, who comes in usually just in relief of Ellis, perhaps after a long game when Ellis needs a rest. Well, Ellis went 71. Huckleby went 9 for the score.
And you're going to see in a moment a great block by Jesse Clark to help spring him around the side as Jan Stenerud, a man about ready to break a record.
In the field goal department, that is. And, of course, he's pretty steady on points after. And there is one for number 10. The 41-year-old Jan Stenerud makes it a 7-0 ball game. A startling beginning here at Green Bay's Lambeau Field.
Okay, it's Jesse Clark. C-33 up in front there of Huckleby. He's got to tie up the linebacker, number 33 right there. He puts the block on Otis Wilson and ties him up just enough so that Huckleby can get to the outside and get into the end zone with some good running. Good block by Jesse Clark.
Well, in their last two games, the Bears gave up only 3 points, shutting out Tampa Bay and holding the Niners to 3. They've surrendered 7 to Green Bay early. Spoils can easily be forgotten when a team gets off well early, as the Packers have done. I'm sure right now the Mike Douglas suspension is not on anybody's mind dressed in green and gold. They're up 7-0 and enjoying the early lead. The kickoff by Garcia, taken by Galt. Galt trying to get wide, and a good open field tackle forcing him out of bounds at the 25. It was Harlan Huckleby who scored the touchdown. Out there on the specials, number 25 makes the tackle.
And there you can see the drive, and you know what's going through Bart Starr's mind. He was ahead 21-0 last week, ahead of Detroit the week before 20-3, off to fast starts, and then lose both ball games. So the Packers certainly can't let down.
Well, they know, as Lynn Dickey himself admitted after last week's game, we've got to score every time we have the football. And I guess you could call that a mild criticism of the Packers' defensive team by Lynn. He appreciates that it is a total team effort and realizes the defense has had its problems all year. Pitch out on first down to Payton. Payton gets a block from Jackson and picks up about 4 yards, close to the 30-yard line. Number 52, George Cumby, made the tackle. And over in there on that side, Cliff Lewis playing for Mike Douglas. And in case you missed that episode of the soap opera in Green Bay, apparently he was criticized at a team meeting for his performance in the Atlanta game last week. The meeting on Monday. He walked out of the meeting after a tiff with Monty Kiffin, the linebacker coach. Skipped practice that day. Had a meeting with Bart Starr that followed and agreed to a fine and an apology to his teammates. And then when the story appeared in the paper and he talked to some reporters, he wound up being suspended. And we don't know for how long. His replacement, Cliff Lewis, a third-year man from Southern Mississippi. Reverse to Moorhead, the tight end. Moorhead, good defensive play by number 55, Randy Scott. Gave him nowhere to turn it up. And there'll be little, if any, gain on the play. Ezra Johnson and Darrell Skogstad finished him off.
There you got to look at Cliff Lewis as he starts to chase the play. He'll come from right to left, and McMahon, number 9, is the man who's going to end up blocking Lewis. You'll see it right there. There's 9 blocking Lewis, but there was plenty of support on the backside. Too many people, and you can see number 55, Randy Scott, on the tackle.
So it is third down and about 6 to go. There was a gain of maybe a half yard for Moorhead out of the shotgun. In motion comes McKinnon. Good rush. The pass is dropped by Dennis McKinnon just over the 30-yard line as the Packers had pressure on McMahon, released the ball a little faster than he wanted to, and McKinnon probably would not have been able to pick up the yardage. Well, let's go to our studios in New York for an update from Brent Musburger.
Then the Eagles have scored first against the Los Angeles Rams. They recover a now by 6.
Look at this.
Well, they punt to Epps at the 25-yard line here at Lambeau Field. Shakes off one tackler and now is buried at the 33-yard line by David Simmons, reserve linebacker number 57. A 45-yard punt by Bob Parsons. And so the Packers have the football again, having stopped the Bears in 2 consecutive series. It'll be first down at the 32 when we return. Their own 32-yard line following the Bears punt. 8:27 remaining first period. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris watching this critical football game for both these teams who, in the typical fashion of the Central, are still in it with 6 and 7 records and 3 games to play. This is Ellis, again forced wide. This time the Bears do not let him escape. Todd Bell and Steve McMichael pulling him down after a gain of about 3 yards for Gary Ellis. Jesse Clark comes in for Meade. As we look at the Packers offensively, Lynn Dickey at quarterback, Ellis and Meade the starters in the backfield, Lofton and Jefferson the wide receivers. Swanke, the rookie Drexler, having a fine season. McCarron, Kitson, and Cook with the tight end Paul Kaufman. And now it is rookie Jesse Clark, number 33, the number 6 pick from Arkansas, in the backfield with Ellis. Straight drop for Dickey. Has time and overthrows Gary Ellis. And Dickey really unhappy with himself. It's not often you will see him throw a ball that badly. He is one of the premier accuracy passers in the league. Defensively for the Chicago Bears, Mike Hartenstein, Jim Osborne starting at left tackle, the veteran back in there with a back injury to Keys. Steve McMichael and Dave Hampton now out on the right end. Wilson, Singletary, and Gary Campbell, the linebackers. And then Richardson, Frazier, Dewerson, and Bell. Dan Hampton, the right defensive end for the Chicago Bears, of course. Schmidt and Williams are in the secondary on 3rd and long for the Bears. Dickey for Lofton, incomplete. In and out of the fingers of James Lofton, number 80. Gary Schmidt, number 44. Mike Richardson, number 27, on the double coverage.
There's James Lofton. You can see he's got those gloves on. I don't know how they do it, but most of the receivers now, when it gets a little bit of cold, you can see the jam there. It's a double coverage. You see Terry Schmidt, 44, downfield, so he turns in away from 44. The ball hit him in the hands, did not hang on to the ball, so the Packers will have to punt.
First punt of the afternoon for rookie Bucky Scribner, who has a thigh injury suffered in his only punt last week against Atlanta. The left footer gets it off, and it's going to take a Packer bounce, rolling to the 25-yard line. Fielded by McKinnon, who gets to the 29-yard line before he's dropped by a pair of Packers. Estes Hood, number 38, the first one there. So Scribner, punting with a sore left thigh, turns out with a fairly good punt. We'll be back. Santa Claus is, well, we're not sure if he's a Packer fan or not. We'll find out maybe a little later in the game when we see who he's cheering for.
It's a good time to be Santa with this cold weather.
Darn right. He's dressed properly for the game. First down for the Bears on the 29-yard line of Chicago, and the Packer defense so far playing like they're first in the NFL. They stopped Matt Suhey, Ezra Johnson, who's been in on about every single defensive play since the opening kickoff.
Boy, did he bust through there on the inside of Covert and Noah Jackson to make the tackle. Boy, he's having a super game. You know, it's hard to believe that these two teams haven't played each other since 1981 because of that strike situation. It sounds like a long time ago.
It really is, and it's a number of interesting things that go with that series. It started back in 1921 when the Chicago Staleys played the Packers, and of course Mike Ditka and Bart Starr meeting each other for the first time in competition because they did not meet each other last year in Ditka's rookie season. Draw play, Payton gets a little bit of daylight to the 35-yard line, short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and about 4. Right now, once again, let's go to Brent Musburger for an NFL update.
Tim, here's why Washington is so lethal. Atlanta test.
Well, Bears fans, if they're interested in the mathematics of this playoff picture, will be watching the Atlanta score, because they are one of many teams that could affect what happens to the Chicago Bears in these final 3 games in terms of making playoff position. So we'll be watching Atlanta and Washington. 3 wide receivers in, and out of the shotgun to give us to Payton, and he has the first down. Nice play for the Bears with the obvious passing situation on 3rd and a long 4. They hand it off to Walter Payton, who delivers the goods. Mike Jolly made the tackle.
That was kind of an inside forward handoff. You see Payton to the left, and McMahon takes it off the shotgun and hands, and then you can see the pull and the trap, which was executed very well by Kurt Becker, and the Bears have a first down.
From their own 43-yard line, Chicago trying to keep the ball, keep possession, and keep it away from that dangerous Packer offense, and feeling they can run against the Packers. The pass out in the flat to Matsui, and he dropped the ball. Had he caught it, he was about to be nailed anyway by Randy Scott, who got a good lick on him as the ball arrived.
Matsui doesn't usually drop passes, but he tried to catch that one cross-handed. He had the wrong hand on top. It's funny how a little fundamental sometimes makes a difference. He's another man that wears gloves out there. You won't see Walter Payton wearing gloves. Here's the thing. If you'll see he's got his right hand up as he turned to look for the ball, but as you said, Scott was there to make the tackle anyway.
I talked to Dennis McKinnon about the wearing of gloves, and he says, well, if you don't wear them and your hands are so numb you don't have any feeling, you're going to drop the ball anyway. I said, well, Johnny Morris never felt that way when he played. Matsui is met behind the line of scrimmage and dropped for a loss, and inspired Packers defense. Darryl Skogstad, a free agent acquired from the 49ers, the 4th man to start at the nose this year for the crippled Packers defensive team, and Skogstad comes up with a big play.
Let's watch him. He's the man right over the center now. They do a little crisscross, and number 91, Skogstad, runs right into where the play was going to go. No chance for 65, Noah Jackson to throw the block. And the Packers have put the Bears into a 3rd and long situation. Every series so far for the Bears, they've had a 3rd and fairly long. They did convert the last time.
3rd and 11. 3 wide receivers in. Out of the shotgun. And a quick little pitch to Moorhead, but the Packers are ready for that. A gain of only 2 to the 45, and the Bears will have to punt. Johnny Gray and number 44, Dwayne Osteen, came up from the secondary to make the play on Moorhead. And a very alert and very aggressive Packer defensive team has shut down the Bears offense thus far.
You'd never believe that they've given up 415 yards per game throughout this NFL season, would you?
No, that is for sure. They are dead last. Number 27 against the rush, number 26 against the pass, and number 28 overall defensively. Parsons' punt takes a Bears roll and is going to be tracked by a pack of Bears all the way inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. So Bob Parsons, who didn't exactly nail that, had the right bounce on it, and the Packers will have to start from the shadow of their goal line when we return with 3:51 remaining here, but it's about 28 degrees. It was 28 at kickoff, and really quite pleasant, except for those who are having to sit on snow-covered seats here at Lambeau Field. First down for Green Bay. Dickey sideliner to Jefferson, and Jefferson is stopped by Frazier, but he has the first down at the 18, maybe the 19-yard line of the Packers. So Dickey gets him quickly out of the hole.
Well, Dickey picked out the man that was man for man, and Jefferson had Frazier 21 man for man. Frazier was playing very soft, went down, and he turned. Jefferson turned to the outside, got himself a first down out of it. And that's going to be the key for Lynn Dickey when the Bears go into that 46. Some of their weird defenses to pick out which one is man for man. Somebody's going to be man for man.
11-yard gain. Ball at the 19 at Green Bay. Clark is in the backfield with Ellis in the I formation. Long count by Dickey, looking over the Bears defense. Again, quickly out to Lofton this time. And a pickup of about 9. And Frazier having to make coverages twice in a row on the 2 dangerous receivers, Jefferson and Lofton.
That's not an easy job, is it?
It is not. The Giants in front of St. Louis 3-0 in the first period. Philadelphia leading the Rams 6-0 now in the first quarter. And there's that Washington score you saw earlier. The Didier scoring for the Redskins. New England in front of New Orleans. A huge game there for both teams, particularly for the Saints. Second and about 1.5 yards for the Packers. Dickey with time to Ellis. A lot of room. Down to the 32-yard line. Gary Ellis, what a start he's off to. Dave Dewerson finally hauled him down after he broke loose from Todd Bell.
And that's the play that he overthrew Ellis earlier a few minutes ago. This time he had Gary Campbell on the coverage again. It was a linebacker on the coverage again. You'll see Ellis 31. He's to the left of your screen, and you'll see Campbell 59 trying to chase him right here. He gets the pass up and over that time, and then Ellis takes off down the field with some nice running, and it's going to be Campbell who kept running, number 59, to eventually get in on tackle along with 22 Dave Dewerson. So the Packers saw the break there the last time when he overthrew him and came back to the same play.
So the Packers have it with a first down at the 34-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Striking with big plays in the first period. Play action. The man is open. Kaufman inside the 5-yard line. A beautiful play by the Packers. And the Bears getting messed up in their coverage there, leaving Kaufman wide open in the middle on the play action. Frazier and Dewerson finally pull him down.
They split the zones. Watch 25, Todd Bell. If you can see him, he'll be down. He's heading right for the sidelines. He runs right out of the coverage, and there is Kaufman all by himself. They were going to double the wide receivers, and they hit the pass. Had they thrown it further down the field, the deep men would have been able to cover it, but he hit him right on the button. He spotted him. Dickey is real sharp today.
Well, we know how well he is prepared. In talking to him yesterday, he was about as well prepared a quarterback as you could ever listen to. And that is Harlan Huckleby, stopped at the line of scrimmage. There'll be very little gain on that play. Otis Wilson, the linebacker, stopping Huckleby at the 5-yard line. It may turn into, yes it does, about a half-yard loss. So it'll be second and goal from the 5. But so we were so impressed with Dickey yesterday, and not only did he know all the Bears by their numbers and so on, but he knew each name and was able to describe the tendencies of the quarterbacks, the cornerbacks rather, and it was a very impressive display of preparation by Lynn Dickey. You saw Mike Ditka looking on with some concern or not. Yes, touchdown. Right at the sideline, but Kaufman had 2 feet in, a perfect pass over the Bears' traffic to Kaufman.
And that time interesting because the Packers put Gary Lewis and Kaufman both out with the slot and as a wide receiver, and Kaufman was on the inside, Lewis was on the outside, and Dickey on the rollout had plenty of time to throw, and Kaufman goes down and then to the outside. Right there he is, over 3 Bear defenders. The pass was perfect. He got both feet in, and the Packers are on the board again.
Stenerud for the point after. And it's good. So the Green Bay Packers, as they have the last couple of weeks, jump into the early lead in the football game. We've still got 1:57 remaining.
It had to be Papa Bear, George Allen.
Papa Bear was the playing coach, and he scored a touchdown in that first game between Chicago and Green Bay back in 21. Brian Bashnagel returning Garcia's kickoff over the 31. A flag is down behind the play. And the Bears got it to the 31-yard line, but there may well be a penalty against Chicago on the return. The referee today is Ben Dreith.
It's going to go against the Chicago Bears, an illegal block, so that takes them out of pretty decent field position, so they'll be starting from about their own 20 or even worse than that. Way back.
It'll be marked at the 13-yard line.
Illegal block, pushing it back on a receiving team, number 62.
Mark Bortz.
Mark Bortz, reserve offensive guard, and that's not the kind of penalty you want because it happened after the runner had gone by him. Next Sunday here on CBS Sports, many of you will see the Bears at Minnesota. Some of you will see Detroit at Cincinnati at 12:30 Eastern Time, and then the doubleheader action. Washington and Dallas, the top 2 teams in the NFC. What a collision that'll be, the Redskins and the Cowboys. Well, I'm glad when he spiked it for the Bears and the Bears fans that he waited that last stride, because he nearly threw it back into the field of play. I don't think Coach Ditka is going to look too kindly on that play by Willie Gulp, but he will certainly like the fact that they made the big play and got themselves on the scoreboard. 87-yard touchdown, McMahon to Gulp.
Well, Galt was due to break loose for a bomber. He hadn't caught a long pass in a long time, and that time the Packers got a little bit confused because Johnny Gray just kind of froze, number 24. They had double coverage on him, but he thought the pass was going to be a 20-yard turn-in, I believe, because he was frozen, and the pass was perfect. McMahon let him right on the button, didn't he?
Perfect pass, standing at his 5-yard line. He really unloaded that downfield. Bob Thomas for the point after try. Bashmegel will hold, and it is good. So the Chicago Bears, who had been stymied by the Packers defense on their first 3 offensive series, strike with one big play to close the margin to 7 as time winds down in the first quarter.
Okay, now the key to this will be number 24, Johnny Gray. Hopefully we'll be able to see him as the pass goes down the field. He is helping on the double coverage, but he got tied up short right there. There's 24 and kind of slipped, and Galt goes right down and takes it in, but it looked like Lewis thought he had help deep, and Johnny Gray didn't help out deep.
I like this. He lifts the ball there, risking a problem there, and then without looking back, spikes it over the shoulder. Somehow I think in the game films there'll be a comment or two about the danger of doing that. Who was that? I don't mean to put you on the spot because I can't remember
Kansas
myself.
City receiver.
But there was a receiver who did exactly that. He spiked the ball before he got to the end zone.
Yeah, it fell off of his. He was going to spike it, and it dropped off the back of his hand, and there was no touchdown. But that one was a touchdown for Willie Galt, a man who, once he gets open, nobody's going to catch him. I don't think there's anybody in the league capable of catching him, and you can run a 9-2 100-yard dash.
Well, they've been trying to get him in position to make plays like that throughout the course of the season because certainly he is the most dangerous pass receiver in the entire league just in terms of sheer speed.
Well, he was averaging 20 yards per catch going into this game.
Thomas will kick it off, and you see Harlan Huckleby, the deep man, standing at the 5-yard line. With Tim Lewis and Johnny Gray, the up man, and it's going to come to Huckleby at the 10. Huckleby bobs and weaves and gets himself over the 25 to the 26-yard line, buried under a sea of white shirts, led by number 51, Kelvin Atkins. Well, next Saturday on CBS Sports, we've got some interesting NCAA action for you. You will see, depending on where you're watching today, one of these 3 games. The Division 1AA semifinal matchup, Western Carolina and Furman, or Nevada-Reno against Southern Illinois. Or you may be seeing the Division II championship game, Central State of Ohio against North Dakota. Quite an afternoon. Followed by professional football with Atlanta and Miami. First down, Green Bay, and Dickey is buried just as he is about to unload the ball from the 18-yard line. Steve McMichael pulled him down, and Dickey wanted to get it all back in a hurry.
That's 5 sacks for Steve McMichael in 3 games. He has really come on. He's number 76, and you can see him right over the center. He busts through 2 guys, gets knocked down, gets up, and still hits Dickey before he can get the ball off. That is what you call desire and determination. Number 76, the rattlesnake hunter, Steve McMichael. He catches rattlesnakes. I asked him, how do you catch him? The short stick? He said, no, a long stick.
His 7th sack of the season. He's become a starter, of course. Ellis and Clark are now the running back there for Green Bay. Did they run out of time? Yes, they did. Packers take a delay of game penalty. Seemed like a fast 30 seconds to me, but they used it up.
Delay offense.
Mike Meade comes back in, number 39. Clark comes out. Dickey, I think the first man he mentioned on the Bears defense yesterday was Steve McMichael. So he had been very impressed with what McMichael's been doing as a starter in the last few games of the Chicago Bears.
And there's Mike Ditka, has his first 3-game winning streak as Chicago Bear coach.
3 wide receivers in for Green Bay. Smith and Williams have joined the Bears secondary. Epps, Jefferson, and Lofton, a lot of speed. Second and long. Way downfield intended for Epps. Epps was turning into the center of the field, and Dickey threw a deep sideline. Pressure from Osborne, and the ball went harmlessly out of bounds, but obviously a little mix-up between Epps and the quarterback.
That's one of those cases where possibly Epps adjusted his pattern to the coverage, and the quarterback and the receiver didn't read it the same way. And then sometimes when you have those side adjustments, you have a misconnection. This is a big series for Green Bay, because if the Bears stop them now, you know, they've broken a little momentum, I would say, with that touchdown in a 14-7 game. As you look at Bart Starr.
Yeah, once again, he's the man on the spot. Seems like every other week, Bart Starr's the man on the spot. And he's on the sidelines here. Dickey flaring it out. It's dropped by Meade, number 39, the second-year man from Penn State. And so the Packers will have to punt, and the Chicago defense does its job, as it has the past 3 weeks in particular. Been so solid. 14 points to the Eagles. No points to Tampa Bay, 3 points to the 49ers. It's been tough. Bucky Scribner in for his second punt, standing in the end zone. The deep man for the Bears will be McKinnon at the 45-yard line.
And I think one thing for sure, the Bears are going to get good field position after this punt.
The left footer gets it away. Pretty good kick. McKinnon drops the ball. It's loose. I believe the Packers have it. Dennis McKinnon drops the ball at the Bear 45, and Green Bay has recovered. Number 37, Mark Murphy. So a break for the Packers, and they have the lead at 14-7, and the football at the Bears 42.
And it was the Packers who ended up with good field position. This ball was end over end. It was not a spiral type of thing, and it got through his arms, hit him right on the thigh, and the ball bangs loose, and there comes the recovery by number 37, Mark Murphy.
Estes Hood, number 38, was the man who put the tackle on McKinnon just as the ball arrived. So the rookie McKinnon tops it up. First down, Green Bay. Dickey under pressure is knocked down as he tried to duck under Hartenstein, and Hartenstein will get credit for the sack. And that's 11.5 on the season for Hartenstein. Is playing with a sore knee. He was hurt in practice this week, limping around the hallway of the hotel yesterday, but the tough guys seem to forget the pain on Sunday.
Greg Cook, 68, is the blocker, and Hartenstein went inside and got inside, and Dickey tried to duck underneath. Mike Hartenstein, who's playing on a sore knee too, he was hurt himself in practice a little bit this week, but didn't look like he was hurt to me.
The loss back to midfield will be second and about 18 for Green Bay, and that has ended the first period of play here at Lambeau Field. So the officials step in with the whistles. Bears send in 2 late substitutions defensively, just as play is about to begin here to start the second period. Williams and Schmidt, so Buddy Ryan doing his little game playing defensively for the Bears. It is second and 18 from midfield. 3 wide receivers in for the Packers. Jefferson, Lofton, and Phillip Epps. Dickey has some time and is going deep for Epps. Frazier is there and picks it off. Leslie Frazier. Back upfield over his 25 to the 26-yard line, where Jesse Clark, number 33, pulls him down. And Leslie Frazier, who has just gotten better and better each game this year, picks up his 5th interception of the season, and he had that one all the way, Johnny.
Man for man, Frazier on Epps. There's no free safety to help out, so did throw it to the inside, but Frazier had it in beat all the way, makes a nice leap and just takes it away from Epps, and you have to say that's just excellent coverage and a good play by Leslie Frazier. So the Bears stop the Packers, have a chance to get back in it. Finally, he's down. Chicago Bears ball at the 26-yard line.
We'll be right back with Glenn and Johnny Morris back at Lambeau Field, and a happy crowd at this point. Their Packers in front of the Chicago Bears 14-7, and a fairly pleasant day for December in Green Bay. Temperature around a 30-degree mark. First down following the interception, and it was apparently intended for Walter Payton. And you can see, looking quickly at McMahon, he was expecting a little bit different pattern, and the ball went harmlessly, fortunately for the Bears, to the ground.
For some reason, Payton stopped on his pattern. The 2 linebackers had him inside-outside, and he stopped, and McMahon thought he was going to go ahead. As you look at Philadelphia, still leading the Rams 6-0. Washington 10-0 over Atlanta in the second quarter. New England still has that early lead over New Orleans, 7-zip. and Buffalo, Kansas City scoreless in the second.
So it is 2nd and 10 from the 27-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Leslie Frazier's interception getting him there. Walter Payton picks up about 4, maybe 5 over the 30 to the 32. Linebacker Randy Scott and Byron Braggs. Braggs tripping him up, and Scott 55 putting the weight on him. It'll be 2nd and 5. 4 substitutions come in defensively. Spears and Boyd to make a 4-man front. Osteen is an extra back. And Mike Jolly, number 21, into the secondary.
And Kenny Marjoram has come in for the Bears.
Willie Galt comes wide to the left, and Marjoram joins McKinnon on the right side. 3 wide receivers on 3rd down. Out of the shotgun. Quick pass to Payton, and he is hit immediately by Mike Jolly, and it is incomplete. It looked like Payton had caught the ball, but as Jolly made contact, it turns into an incompletion, and that was excellent defensive play by Mike Jolly, who was one of the GOATs last week against Atlanta, giving up the Hail Mary pass at the end of the half.
And this is what you don't want to do if you can avoid it, just string Payton out, stretch him out like that, and let somebody take a free shot at him, and Jolly got it. Payton tried to maintain, he hung on to the ball, but it did hit the turf.
Green Bay continues to impress defensively. Parsons punting. Again, a Bear bounce. It hit a Packer en route and was covered just inside the 30-yard line. It looked like that ball hit him right on the back. Estes Hood, number 38. And he had to be alert to get possession of that football. It was an interesting play.
I think it hit him right on the head, and he got the lucky bounce. That's using your head.
Packer ball, when that's presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast, even in Kenosha, without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the NFL, is prohibited. 1st down, Packers. That is Gary Ellis, number 31, and he is stacked up just over the line of scrimmage. Singletary and Todd Bell combining on the stop, a gain of maybe a yard for Gary Ellis, who came into the game with 526 yards rushing. And Johnny, as you said, Lynn Dickey thinks that he could be a 1,000-yarder easy if they could give him the ball to run with more often, but the Packers almost always have to pass.
That's correct, and he runs pretty well from that tailback spot. He used to be the up back quite a bit, and I think he's proved he's got the speed to run from that tailback spot.
He's in there for Eddie Lee Ivory, who is still out on the unable to perform non-football injury, which non-football situation. Asking off the club several games ago and probably will not return. Dickey on 2nd and 8, and it is almost picked off, intended for Jefferson and knocked away by Walt Williams, number 43. 3rd down.
Okay, let's take a look at the receivers. As you can see, there's Walt Williams. He's going to turn the wrong way here. There's Jefferson, number 83, turns to the outside. The ball is thrown back to the inside and banged down. And an interesting concept so far by Buddy Ryan's defense. I haven't seen a blitz yet, have you?
No, I don't remember one.
Very, very little so far. And, of course, as you know, they're a notorious blitzing football team.
Well, every week, Buddy Ryan gives the offense something new to think about. Dickey on 3rd down. Has time, goes deep for Epps. And that'll be overthrown for Philip Epps on the coverage, Mike Richardson. But Dickey just got that one downfield a little too far. So the Packers will have to punt, and now the Bears have shut down the Packers on their last couple of offensive series. And the game settling into a little bit more of a pattern from the big play start of the first period, which saw Gary Ellis go 71 yards to set up Hucklebee's touchdown, and then McMahon hitting Galt with an 87-yard score. Dennis McKinnon at the 30-yard line. You saw him, Bucky Scribner, with his 3rd punt of the afternoon. He punted only once in that shootout against Atlanta last week and wound up catching a knee in the thigh of his kicking leg, and he's been sore all week. Good kick, Scribner. Driving back McKinnon to the 23. McKinnon holds on to this one over the 30-yard line, and Dwayne Osteen, acquired as a free agent, been around the NFL somewhat. Number 44 makes the stop. We've got 12:48 remaining in the first half. Well, earlier today, before the game began, they retired the number of Ray Nitschke, number 66, a great linebacker in the glory years of the Packers, and he was really genuinely excited about it. His wife standing behind him as he had a long 15-year career of glory with the Pack, and I know that Nitschke himself would like to be out there helping this beleaguered Green Bay defense, but right now he's got to feel they're doing a fine job against the Bears. This afternoon, perhaps in tribute to Nitschke. First down for the Packers. The pass out to Suey, and he is dropped immediately. A gain of about 5. It was Randy Scott, number 55 on the hit, the third-year man from Alabama. He was out for 10 games with a knee injury, getting back as a starter for the first time last week against Atlanta. Late in the season last year, in the shortened season, he moved ahead of his former Alabama teammate Rich Wingo as the starter with the Packers. And then, of course, when Scott got hurt, Wingo got to play most of this season.
This is a 14-7 game, but the Packers pretty much shut the Bears down. You take away one play, and the Bears haven't done much.
That's it. 2nd and 5. Slot formation left, margin in motion, early motion along the front, whistles and flags, and it looked like the Bears' right side, probably Frederick, left a little bit early. Illegal procedure is the preliminary signal. Frederick's been doing a good job for the Bears since taking over when Keith Van Horn hurt his ankle, and Van Horn can't get back in on that right side.
False start, number 71.
You could say that's a costly injury for Keith Van Horn.
Yeah, you don't like to get hurt and lose your job.
That's a double whammy.
I wonder if Gary Fensick is thinking that about Dave Duerson in his spot. Fensick been out all season with a groin injury most of the season, and he's ready to go and could see action next week. He's in uniform today and could play. 2nd down, screen pass for Suey. He's got a blocker in front of him, but now he runs it right back into Packer people, and it'll be a loss on the play. First man there was Byron Braggs, and number 99, Charles Johnson, who's getting some work in at the nose, ankle injury and all.
I would say that he made a right turn when he should have made a left turn out there, and that shows the pursuit by the Packers. They're playing some aggressive football. The screen sets up, and there's Suey outside, and he's got his blockers out there, and he cuts back here against the grain, and there's a whole bunch of green jerseys.
He had Noah Jackson ahead of him, but there were also a couple of Packers coming from that direction, and he made a decision which turned out to be a wrong one. McKinnon, Dalton, and Marjoram now the wide receivers on 3rd and 13, and they give it to Payton. Payton on the Statue of Liberty, and he is going to be shut down at the corner. Good job defensively by this Packer defense, which has struggled all season long. They have been razor sharp today. John Anderson, the linebacker, number 59. Johnny Gray, number 24. Mike Jolly, number 21.
This is a play where Mike Dick obviously trying to take advantage of their pursuit with a spin by Payton to go back the other way, but people stayed at home and Payton had no place to go. As you see, they all come up and everybody's in on that tackle. Lewis was the first man, and the Bears are going to have to punt.
Tim Lewis, number 26, the rookie cornerback, giving him credit for the first hit. Parsons will do the punting, and it is Epps at his 34. And he is stopped there cold, and it was number 57, David Simmons, who muscled him down. Back at the 31, they'll give him forward progress to about the 33. So Green Bay will have the football again. They hold the lead with 10:26 of our discontent. I'm going to look forward to seeing that. Didn't know that was in production. We'll see it on CBS. First down for the Green Bay Packers at their own 34-yard line. They have stopped the Bears troll except with a big bomb to Goff. First down pass to Lofton, gains about 9. Richardson on the coverage. Todd Bell was there as well. And it'll be 2nd and 1 as Dickey hits James Lofton.
You talk about timing. You know, Lofton turned and there was the ball. Huh? That's nice.
I'd say that Dickey and with Jefferson and Lofton, they really just know each other like hands and gloves by now.
This ball's going to come right into your living room there as he turns, and there it was. James Lofton just recently signed a new 5-year contract with the Packers.
2nd and a long yard. Deep sideliner and a diving try by Jefferson. The pass incomplete. A little bit overthrown. Some of the crowd wanting an interference call on Leslie Frazier. But it will be 3rd down and a yard and a half. I like that call on 2nd and short. In comes Mike Meade bringing in the play.
He had a step on Frazier. The ball comes over, and then Frazier goes to make the tackle. A very close call, but it looked like he wasn't going to catch that football anyway.
Third down from the 42-yard line of Green Bay. Out of the I formation, Meade the lead back. And they'll go to Ellis. Ellis has the first down and then some. Gary Ellis all the way down to the 35-yard line. Hard running by Ellis, who has been the offensive star for Green Bay. Dewerson and Richardson make the tackle.
And the key here was getting the first back through. Watch Meade, number 39. Anytime you get the first back through the hole clean and slick, you know you've got yourself a hole. Here comes Meade, 39, in front of Ellis. And then Meade throws a key block. He's out in front right there on Dewerson, number 22, knocks him out of the way, and Dewerson comes back in and gets on the tackle along with Richardson. Good run, good blocking by the Packer offensive line.
21-yard pickup for Ellis. Ellis again breaks a tackle, and Ellis gets down to the 23-yard line of Chicago.
Good block by Larry McMahon, the man from the University of Illinois. He took Jim Osborne and wheeled him right out of the action, and that was the key block. The center, number 54, blocking on 68 right there. He wheels him out of the hole, and that allows him to get through the hole. And another good run by Ellis, who is having himself a big day before Otis Wilson brings him down. Good blocking by Larry McMahon, the man from Park Forest, Illinois.
13-yard gain, 109 yards on the day for Ellis. 8:57 remaining first half. Dickey flares it out here for Ellis, and it's incomplete. A flag down on the play. Todd Bell gave Ellis a lick there, but the pass was a little behind him, and he just couldn't hold on to it anyway. Flag was back in the area of the quarterback, Lynn Dickey.
Preliminary indication is holding.
And there may be a holding call against the Packers on the play.
That ball was almost a lateral.
Well, the first half surprise has been the defense of Green Bay.
Offense 54.
Well, Larry McCarron makes a great play, and then he gets caught for an illegal block.
And if there's a surprise offensively as we watch this play again, it's that they've been able to move it with Gary Ellis.
Well, he's blocking right there on Steve McMichael, and he's called for holding as McMichael busted through.
First and 20 for Green Bay. The ball now back at the Bears' 34-yard line. In all kinds of motion. Osborne over the line. Was he drawn? We'll wait and see. And yes, he was. It's called against Green Bay by referee Ben Bright. So 2 consecutive penalties have backed them up here.
Offense, false start, 64.
Sid Kitson moved a little bit too soon. He saw a defensive backup in there, Walt Williams, and he was trying to make that quick adjustment to pick up a blitz, and he moved a little bit too soon.
Now at the 38-yard line of the Chicago Bears, Meade and Huckleby are now the running back set for Green Bay. Wide left Lofton, wide right Jefferson. They give it to Huckleby. Huckleby's got a blocker. Hampton can't catch him, and Huckleby picks up only about 6. Good reaction by Dave Dewerson, number 22, the rookie safety for Chicago. A gain of 4 yards for Huckleby. It'll be second and 21.
Dave Dewerson has done a good job for Gary Fensick, former Notre Damer, who says that he didn't think the Fighting Irish should have taken that bowl game if they lost 5 games. He was pretty adamant about that.
Well, as a fellow alumnus, I agree with him. You don't go anywhere with a 6 and 5. Second down. Schmidt and Williams in defensively. 3 wide receivers for Green Bay, and that is Epps out of bounds. Philip Epps, number 85, caught the ball very near the sideline, but could not get 2 feet inbounds. It'll be incomplete.
Now, his argument was that he would have come down had not Richardson hit him before he had a chance to come down and bring his feet in.
Well, that is a case that can be made. Let's take a look.
Let's take a look and form our opinion as the Packer offensive line holds the Bears out. Would he have come down had he not been hit? Well, it looked like he had his toe on the out-of-bounds line there, and he gets pushed, but well, you be the judge.
Tough call. Can't tell from that replay, unfortunately, with an official blocking. That's a very close one either way. Third down. Dickey trying to keep the drive alive, and he has Clark open. Clark shakes out the tackle. Clark to the 21-yard line. Well short of the first down, however. He got away from Walt Williams, and then Singletary, Bell, and Richardson all arrived at the 25-yard line.
But he did get it far enough to put the Packers in position for a possible field goal.
Stenerud comes on the field. And Jan Stenerud, 41 years of age, needs 3 field goals to break the all-time career record. Here we see the play again.
Here's Clark breaking the tackle by Williams, and then there's a whole bunch of white jerseys. He can't get to the first down, but now Stenerud has a good shot at a field goal.
From the 28, it will be a 38-yard attempt for Stenerud at the hash marks, almost dead center. Hit the crossbar and came out. So Stenerud was just a few inches away from a field goal, and not happy with that. He is 16 of 20 on the season and still needs 3 to pass the great George Blanda.
Did that hit the crossbar or the upright?
The upright.
Yeah, hit the upright. Boy, it looks like it's right in the middle here, but it's got a little hook to it. Boom. That's what you call the fate of the breaks of life.
So the Chicago message was brought to you by the Bears' Dan Hampton and the National Football League. Chicago will start first down from their 20-yard line. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris at Lambeau Field. Cloudy skies now. Temperatures still fairly pleasant for December in Green Bay. Around 30 degrees. And Walter Payton is clogged up at the line of scrimmage. Byron Braggs, a little steer wrestling on him, but Walter just ran into a whole bunch of bodies there at the middle of the line of scrimmage. No gain. Let's take a look around the other action here as Philadelphia holding a 6-3 lead over the Rams. Game for the Rams. Buffalo 73 over Kansas City in the second period. AFC action. Houston in front of Miami 14-7 in the second quarter. Moorhead and Salvi, double tight ends in for the Bears out of the I formation on 2nd and 10. Pitch out to Payton. Payton off tackle right, gets about 3, maybe 4 yards. Out near the 25-yard line, Charles Johnson, number 99, in at nose tackle. He and Ezra Johnson both have ankle injuries, and Skogstad started for Charles Johnson. Of course, they lost Terry Jones, they lost Turner, their first 2 nose tackles earlier in the season, and that has been a severe problem for Green Bay defensively. But today, between Johnson and Skogstad, and particularly Ezra Johnson, Pat's been doing a fine job defensively. It'll be 3rd and 5 as usual. Payton got a little bit more than it appeared he did. Spears and Boyd have come in to make a 4-man front for Green Bay. Forced out of the pocket is McMahon, and he is hauled down after a gain of only 2. Byron Braggs, number 73. So the Pack continues to be tenacious defensively.
And the key to that was John Anderson's coverage on Dennis McKinnon, number 85. The pass is going to be to McKinnon right over the middle. 85, watch 59, and here comes 85 across, and he covers him well, so McMahon can't get rid of the ball. And then here come the Packer defensive lineman to sack him, and the Bears have to punt.
Parsons gets the punt away. It is fielded by Epps near the 40-yard line, and Epps gets quickly straight ahead, almost to midfield. Dennis Gentry makes the tackle there, but the Green Bay Packers with good field position, but a flag down back near the line of scrimmage, and a good guess is that the Bears had somebody downfield a little early, and that is the preliminary signal. Now, will Green Bay turn it down? They've got the ball at midfield.
I would think they would refuse it, because anytime you take a second punt, there's always the risk of a fumble, and they have the ball
Illegal
at midfield.
man downfield, 33, the kicking team. Decline of penalty. First down this way.
Larry McCarron made the call, and it took him about a 1/10 of a second to say decline. And I don't think you'll get an argument from Bart Starr.
How many games in a row has McCarron started? 100.
He is your basic
108.
veteran. Johnny, next Saturday, the NFL Today will be followed by Atlanta at Miami, 3:30 Eastern Time. As we mentioned earlier, Bears fans will be interested in what Atlanta does, because they're in that mix of all these teams that are still in the running for a playoff spot. Dickey on first down, complete to Kaufman, the tight end to the 30-yard line, to the 29. And another big play by Green Bay, Duerson and Frazier.
Oh, what a super
this
play by
tackle.
Kaufman. He just goes down. He's got linebackers on either side of him. Dewerson's there, and he just turns completely around. Doesn't go to the right or the left, and just fills the hole in there. And Dickey is waiting for him, and he takes it and turns it on and gives a little punishment out too before he's brought down by Dewerson and Leslie Frazier.
21-yard gain for the tight end Kaufman, who came into the game with 43 catches. They spread their passing around with the wide receivers, Ellis and Kaufman. This is Ellis, and a good diving tackle by Mike Singletary, who had 12 last week against San Francisco, 12 solo tackles. And he makes a diving grab there to hold Ellis to about a 2-yard pickup.
Now that was the key, because Campbell was on the outside. 59 forced the runner in, and number 50 is going to come from the inside. And nobody can seal him off. And here comes Singletary from the inside to make the tackle. Otherwise, it would have been a big gain. So a nice play by Mike Singletary, who's getting more and more time, even on pass coverage for the Bears. He's fast becoming one of the better middle linebackers in the NFL.
Williams and Schmidt in the Bears secondary. A couple of linebackers out. Dickey straight back. And he's got a man. Lofton was open briefly, and then up came Terry Schmidt, number 44, to help out Richardson. So what looked like single coverage turned into double, and the ball went out of bounds.
That's exactly right. They had him inside outside. Schmidt's just waiting down the field, so he came back to the flag. They had him covered. So Dickey actually picked out the wrong man here to throw to. You double cover Lofton, you're going to have single coverage on Kaufman or Jefferson or somebody else.
Third down as the Packers try to keep it alive here. They lead by 7, 14-7, 4:21 remaining first half. 3rd and 8, and they give it to Ellis. Ellis will have the first down and then some. Still going, running through people to the 10-yard line. There are flags everywhere, including one back at the line of scrimmage, and then 2 flags downfield where Ellis went down. And the first signal is against Green Bay. Well, what a tough break for the Packers there. What a day this young man is having. Gary Ellis from Missouri.
Now, I think the second flag may have been against the Bears.
Ellis, it's amazing the Rams let him get away, and I'm sure they've second-guessed themselves many times since 1980. 5'11", 220-pounder.
Holding on the offense, number 61. There's a 5-yard face mask on the defense. We're going to play it over.
Well, the Bears came out smelling like a rose on that deal, didn't they?
Boy, did they ever. The holding call was the damaging one against Green Bay. We'll show you the Chicago penalty as they're doing anything they can to stop this guy the way he's been going today, including grabbing him by the wire here. There's the grab coming up right here. There's one face mask grab.
Dewerson, and then Richardson also did it. A couple of them there.
So they'll start it over again on 3rd down from the 28-yard line. Lofton, Epps, Jefferson, 3 wide receivers in a slot left. There's Jefferson. Dickey gets some time and goes deep. That'll be overthrown, and a nice diving try by Jefferson, trying to drag his toes in and reach out and grab the ball, but it was just a little too long. So the Bears get a little luck there. They have stopped the Packers with 4:07 remaining in the half. And Stenerud will come in and try the field goal. This one will be fairly lengthy, a 45-yarder. Now, mind you, he's not bad from this distance. Indeed, he has hit 6 out of 8 between 40 and 49 yards. .45-yard try. Stenerud. And that one is wide to the left. Looked like he kind of scuffed it a little. So Stenerud fails to connect on a pair of consecutive field goal tries, and the Bears really come out of that with some good fortune.
And they are lucky to be down only 14.
Wise in the NFC. It all starts for the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern. First down, play action for McMahon. He's got lots of time. He's trying to find an open man. He can't. Still looking. He's got one on this side. It goes up. Oh, it is intercepted by John Anderson. A flag is down just after the intercept. And McMahon did not see Galt, who was open way back on the near side of the field, trying to help him out. And now a little pushing and shoving going on. Ezra Johnson and Jimbo Covert trying to get at each other, and tempers are fraying here.
Well, it wouldn't be a Packer-Bear game without this.
A rivalry that both coaches acknowledge as something special. Bart Starr and Mike Dickey meeting each other in competition as coaches for the first time. Of course, they were rival players in the glory days of both teams back in the 60s. And both acknowledging that this tradition that goes back to 1921 is something special between the Bears and the Packers, and so emotion.
No flags. Oh, yes, one flag did go down after the scuffling took place.
Well, yes. And there was one just after the pass was interception. I'm not sure what McMahon was trying to do on that far side, as the coverage downfield prevented him from finding an open man, and then when he started to scramble, he elected to throw a little short one up the far sideline, and Anderson picked it off.
Well, I tell you, that was about a bullet right at him, and he caught the ball. I think the Packers are going to retain possession.
Ben Bright trying to get a clear path here. One final consultation. Anderson was presented with the Packer Man of the Year award before the game began, when they also retired Ray Nitschke's number 66 jersey.
There was an ineligible man downfield on a passing team, number 79, during the play. We have a personal foul on both teams after the play. We're going to play it over.
Oh, boy, do they get another break there. How can you come out having made the interception and a penalty for having Kurt Becker downfield illegally and not get the football?
Well, I tell you, I don't understand that either.
How does that happen? Bart Starr's going to stroll out there and say, hey, I think it ought to be our ball. We did make an interception on the play, and the personal foul penalties came after the interception was made. I don't understand that one, Johnny. Shades of Bob McElwee's call a few weeks ago when it was ruled an incomplete pass on an obvious sack against Jim McMahon in the game against the Eagles. There's some snowballs being thrown from the crowd and a little further discussion by the officials. Now, if he makes the catch and there is a penalty against the Bears for having an ineligible man downfield, it's got to be Packer football by my estimation, but
let's see here. They've had a huddle to rediscuss this thing.
I will not claim to be the ultimate expert on the rule book, and I have to defer to Ben Bright's decision down here, but that doesn't seem
here
right.
Here comes now.
We're going to correct it. It's Green Bay's ball. Green Bay's ball.
Well, thank you, Ben. I hate to have the fans write in and say the announcers don't know what they're talking about when it comes to the rules, but by any sense of fair play, that's got to be Green Bay's ball.
Well, Bart Starr did come out on the field there and talk to one of the officials. They went back and rehuddled, and at least they got together and discussed it and came up with the right call.
Well, the Bears got lucky on the last offensive series by Green Bay, and this would have been the ultimate luck if they had got to keep the football. Now, here's McMahon. You see, he doesn't see Gault, who's way over on the far side open. Tries to go up the sideline. And John Anderson, number 59, just made himself a fine interception there.
Lost in all of this was Anderson's super play. I mean, that ball was only thrown 5 yards from him. It was like a bullet over his head, and he caught the ball. Green Bay has it.
From the 29-yard line of Chicago, with 3:49 remaining first half. Dickey gets time. And that one could be picked off by Singletary. There's a flag down on the play. Singletary couldn't quite grab the ball. The ball was overthrown, intended for Jefferson. Jefferson is claiming interference, and he may get it.
Mike Richardson was covering on Jefferson. Jefferson was trying to come to the inside, and Richardson was impeding his progress, and they're going to call it on Richardson.
Well, that ball was so badly overthrown that you had to believe that Jefferson had to be slowed down one way or another, either by his own problem running or by interference.
Number 27, first down.
And it is interference, and they'll have a first down inside the 10-yard line. Well, we have had all kinds of happenings here in the first half.
And look at Mike Dickey, calm as can be.
It's that tie. Since he put that tie on, it's changed his whole personality.
The contact has already been made here, as you see Jefferson back there signaling to the official that he was impeded and that his progress towards the ball.
First and goal for the Packers. Well, what a turn of events here. 3:44 to go and flags everywhere. Now let's see who's going to be to blame here. Did somebody pull back early for Green Bay, or did a bear jump in there? It is procedure against the Packers. Well, staring good fortune in the face, they hurt themselves. And back up to the 15-yard line. 3:43 remaining in this critical game. 2, 6, and 7 teams still with a shot.
Offense 61.
That is David Drexler, the rookie from North Carolina, left guard with a false start. Either of these teams can still win the division. Hard to believe. Well, James Jones, a Detroit rookie, figured it out way back earlier in the season. He said, crazy things happen in the NFC Central. 8-8 might be the winner. He could be right. Ellis, diving over the left side, picked up about 4 of the 5-yard penalty loss. Ellis has been outstanding in this first half, number 31. It'll be second down and 13. He got about 2 where they marked it. Second and 13.
Big series for the Packers because this is the 3rd time they've been down there. And the first 2 times they came out with 0 points.
Hoffman in motion. The pitch up back the other way. Ellis has running room. He'll score. Touchdown. What an afternoon. A 12-yard touchdown run for number 31. And the Packers turn the interception by Anderson into a Green Bay score.
Well, the Bears were obviously expecting the pass, a second and long situation. The Packers crossing them up with a picture play run.
Stenerud for the point after. Scribner the holder. And Stenerud has it. Now let's take a look at that touchdown run again.
Good block by Jesse Clark to kick the linebacker out right there. Gary Campbell turns in. Dave Drexler, number 61, gets through there. He throws a key block right there as Jesse Clark cuts back, or I should say Ellis cut back and scored the touchdown. Good blocking by the Packers. A gaping hole, and they really crossed the Bears up. It was second and long, second and 13, I believe, and the Bears were expecting the pass and got the run, and Green Bay has hit the board. 21
has burned them. Otherwise, they have had the Bears in check. Garcia's kickoff is taken on the far sideline by Brian Baschnagel, and Baschnagel is dropped immediately at the 18-yard line by this fired-up Packer team.
Cliff Lewis, I believe, in on the tackle.
Number 56, Cliff Lewis, the man getting his first ever start in place of the suspended Mike Douglas. So the turmoil in the locker room, the conflict among the players who supported Douglas and those who didn't, and so on, really has all been wiped away. A little success will do that. Bart Starr said his reason for suspending Douglas, despite the critical aspect of today's game, was you've got to be consistent with your team discipline. One man is not above the team, and he went ahead and suspended him anyway, even though he realized he was giving up his best defensive player. McMahon off to Suey, the release man, and Suey trying to get the first down, makes a good effort. Got about 9, and Randy Scott was there along with Mark Murphy to stop him. It'll be about 9-yard gain for Matt Suey as McMahon picked up his safety valve.
We have 2:31 left in the half, and I know what's on the Packers' mind. Remember that touchdown they gave up to Atlanta right before the halftime wound up being a real costly touchdown, so they didn't want the Bears to score before halftime here.
21-7 Packer lead. McMahon has a man open. Suey has the first down, breaks a tackle, and picks up about 7, maybe 8 yards. It'll be at the 37-yard line of Chicago. John Anderson and Mark Lee combining on the hit for Green Bay. And we're down to the 2-minute warning here at Lambeau Field. It's been a long first half of play and an eventful one with the Green Bay Packers. We are back at Lambeau Field. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris with the Chicago Bears trying to make the 2-minute drill turn into a score that would draw them to within 7 of the Green Bay Packers, who have dominated play in the first half. First down from the 27-yard line. Out of the shotgun, Moorhead off the wing into the pattern. McMahon has a man open, Willie Galt, and Galt has a first down to the 43-yard line of Green Bay, where Johnny Gray made the stop. 1:46 and counting, and the hurry-up offense out of the shotgun again. McMahon. Moorhead with running room. Moorhead shakes a tackle, heads down the sideline and out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 22-yard line. John Anderson steering him out. 1:32 on the clock. And two good pass plays in a row for the Bears have them in Packer territory.
Interesting play. Moorhead caught the tight end screen over the middle, still managed to get out of bounds.
He turned it wide away from one tackler and had some running room down on the sideline. 1:32 on the clock. They'll start ticking on the snap of the ball, and the Bears now at the Packers 26. Trailing by 14 out of the shotgun. McMahon steps up away from the pressure, lofts the ball out of bounds in the general direction of Dennis McKinnon, and he was pursued by Byron Braggs, number 73. He put the hit on him as he released the ball. That used up 6 seconds.
I believe the Bears have all 3 of their timeouts left, so the time factor is not that critical.
It'll be second down from the 26-yard line of Green Bay. Well, as is quite obvious, a Chicago score would change the complexion of the second half considerably. Being down only a converted touchdown. If they can get into the end zone. 4-man front for Green Bay with Spears and Boyd in, and 2 extra defensive backs. Jolly and Osteen. Marjoram in motion. McMahon gets time. He's got Payton wide open on the right side. Payton dancing his way to the 20-yard line. To the 19, they'll spot it. Johnny Gray with the ankle tackle. A gain of about 7 yards for the Chicago Bears, who call a timeout.
Chicago, first timeout.
They will have 2.
Right. Every time it rains, they look like world beaters.
They do indeed. They've been a foul weather team. Earlier they were just foul. Third down, pitch out to Payton. Payton off tackle and has the first down, gets inside the 15 to about the 13-yard line. Time ticking away at 1:07. Cumbie and Anderson, the linebackers 52 and 59, make the tackle. Bears will keep it going here. Wide to the left, Galt. Wide to the right, McKinnon. Out to Payton. Payton at the 10-yard line, and an open field tackle by George Cumbie, number 52, the 4-year man from Oklahoma. And the Bears call timeout again. And out quickly, and Jim McMahon and company have had a very difficult first half. But McMahon has moved them smartly down the field in this 2-minute drill, and they are on the doorstep of the goal line of Green Bay. In the middle, it is complete to about the 6-yard line. McKinnon making the catch. They picked up about 4. They'll spot it inside the 5. Cornerback Tim Lewis made the stop. 32 seconds remaining in the half. Slot formation left. McMahon has time. He's got lots of real estate. Got inside one tackler and was stopped at the 1-yard line. 19 seconds left. And the clock has been stopped as he got the timeout called, evidently. Braggs and Murphy made the tackle. And they did a good job getting over there to shut that off. It looked like McMahon could get in. And then he did a nice piece of running, eluding the first tackle.
Last timeout.
And alertly got time called. With 19 seconds left, they'll be at the 2-yard line, about a yard and a half actually out of the end zone.
And that was a third down situation. McMahon got far enough to get the first down. He couldn't find a receiver, and it did appear at this point he was going to get around the horn there, but the Packers really chased him down and stopped him from going into the end zone. So now they have a first down on the 1-yard line with no timeouts left. So
we saw Randy Scott really come over there in a hurry to prevent him from scoring. And while McMahon made a rather nice move inside Randy Scott, it was Scott who enabled Braggs to make the tackle on him.
Okay, now this is interesting because if they don't get that touchdown on this first down play, they can't stop the clock again. whether they could set up and run another play or kick a field goal, it would be, the cheese would be binding. That would make you believe that maybe they might be better off
doing what?
Throwing a pass.
You think
with
so?
some kind of an option so we can throw the pass and stop the clock, because they've got to make that first down.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point, because they would stop the clock with an incomplete pass if you don't score. And on the other hand, when you got Walter Payton at the 1-yard line, it would seem that you almost have to go to him. They've got 3 tight ends in to help block him. And they go to Matt Suhey. Touchdown. They had Walter Payton heading out to the left as though he was on a pitch out or a pass situation, and they went to Matt Suhey, and he just blasted it up the middle behind a couple of good blocks. The center Hilgenberg, the left guard Jackson. Let's look at it again.
You can look at the left side of the Bear line. That was the place they went. As Noah Jackson blocked down, Jimbo Covert pulled out, and Payton was going to the left on a pitch, and they just gave it to Suhey.
Well, they weren't listening to us. They didn't pass and didn't give it to Payton. They gave it to Matt Suhey. And Bob Thomas has the point after. So the Chicago Bears, against this very difficult Green Bay defense in the first half, marches it down with a 2-minute drill to close the gap to 7 points. With 16 seconds remaining, Huckleby is up at about the 13-yard line. And so Lewis and Gray are back there with him, and they're not expecting a deep kickoff from Thomas. There's a bit of a wind into the face of Thomas. The punters have had that effect. But Thomas gets a pretty good kick, and he's going to drive Huckleby back all the way to the 6-yard line. Huckleby brings it over the 20 to the 23, and he is tackled by Dan Raines, number 53. So 10 seconds are on the clock for the Green Bay Packers to try and come up with that one big play that might get them some more points.
Well, teams have done it against them, the old alley-oop pass or something with seconds to go. Will the Packers try that, or will they settle for the 7-point lead and have Dickey fall on the ball, or just a little handoff?
Well, there's I guess a double theory in that. I think if you're over your 20-yard line, that if you're leading by 7, you're going to do the safe thing. Lay out the clock.
You sure changed that sentence in midstream, I'll tell you that.
Actually, I like to see him go for it just because it's more fun. But I suppose if I'm the coach of the Green Bay Packers, I do the intelligent thing. The Green Bay Packers take a 21-14 lead. Well, if you're wondering how the teams have approached this game offensively, the Bears passed on first down 10 times and ran it 6 times. The Packers, the known passing team, ran on 10 first downs and passed on 9, almost 50-50, but with the edge going to the run department. And it seems like the way Ellis is going today that Bart Starr and Bob Schnelker had that figured out very well. We'll see if they stick with it in the second half. They lead 21-14, and the Packers receiving. It'll be taken on the near sideline by number 24, Johnny Gray, and Gray with a good return up over the 30 to the 33. Where Anthony Hutchison, number 32, made the tackle on him, and the Packers will start with the football from their own 32-yard line to begin the second half, and the temperature has definitely dropped, maybe as much as 10 degrees. Well, it feels like 10 degrees. I've just been told it's 31 degrees here, but I got to believe from the breath starting to show near our microphones here that the temperature is down in the mid-20s at least. Lynn Dickey, 8 of 19 in the first half for 147 yards. He has one setback here on first down, and that is Mike Meade, and Meade is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Got maybe a half-yard Singletary, number 50, with Steve McMichael, number 76, making the stop.
The Packers gained 264 yards in that first half. Some teams go a whole game and don't do that. They gained 500 yards last week and lost the football game. So they never have it cinched.
2nd and 9 for the Green Bay Packers. Wide to the left goes Jefferson. On the near side is Lofton. They're in the eye this time with Kaufman in motion. Pitch out Gary Ellis. Ellis is stopped this time by Osborne, number 68, right at the line of scrimmage. He had 124 yards rushing in the first half.
And you're going to see Osborne is number 68, playing in the twilight of his career. He's the oldest veteran. Number 68 chases the play from behind and brings down Ellis.
Tyrone Keys had figured to start there, as he has the last couple of games for the Bears, the rookie out of the Canadian League, but he's been bothered with a back injury. All this Bears defensive line is banged up. Hartenstein, Hampton playing hurt. And Keys has not been in the game yet. Dickey intended for Jesse Clark out of the backfield. Good coverage on him by Singletary, and Dickey had to throw the ball up a little higher to get over Singletary, and Clark couldn't bring it back down.
There's the evidence of Mike Singletary playing more and more on third down passing situations. He's earned his way onto that segment of the team. It used to be he'd be in on the running situations and out of the ball game, but his pass coverage has improved so much, and the Packers didn't do a thing in that series. They're going to have to punt to the Bears.
Scribner standing at his 20-yard line. McKinnon is the deep man at the Bears 25. Scribner will hit it from the Packer 25, and McKinnon comes up for the short punt, fielding it at the 30, and is dropped immediately by Estes Hood, number 38. So Chicago will have their first offensive try here in the second half, with the ball spotted at the 30-yard line of the Bears when we return. Must be the Chamber of Commerce providing these weather conditions. They don't let you have anything below 30. I'll eat my overcoat if it's not below 30 degrees here in Green Bay right now. It is first down for the Bears from their own 30-yard line. In motion is Moorhead, and Walter Payton running off tackle right. Picks up about 7, maybe 8 on the play, with Randy Scott, the linebacker, number 55, ranging back to get him. McMahon 11 for 17 and 161 yards and a touchdown in the first half. He gave up one interception to John Anderson, and that led to Ellis's touchdown that gave the Packers a 21-7 lead at the time, and then Matt Suhey scoring in the final seconds moved it to 21-14. Second down and about 4 for the Chicago Bears off the run by Payton. It is Payton again, and Payton this time is jammed up in the middle of the line, well short of the first down. He got about 2. Byron Braggs was there, number 73, and there's Mike Ditka sending in Jay Solly with the third down call, and a whole pack of Packers comes on defensively. 4 new troops with Spears and Boyd coming in to make a 4-man front.
Everybody's figuring the tough yardage run now. Walter Payton's up to 11,000, almost 400 yards as he closes in on Franco Harris.
55 yards this afternoon for Walter Payton on 13 carries. Third and short for the Bears. Moorhead in motion. And Suhey with a good second effort picks up the first down. He was hit behind the line of scrimmage. Rich Wingo, number 50, getting a piece of him and tripping him up, but Suhey with a good second effort crashed forward and got the first down. Matt Suhey having his best year as a Bear, 498 yards rushing coming into the game.
He had a collision with a linebacker. Prather was in there too. 51 was in there, and he just made second effort and got himself that first down. That was a key play. The Bears would have been forced to punt, so they're trying to establish that running game.
You know, they are the number 1 ranked rushing team in the entire NFL with a 6-7 record. Kind of interesting. McKinnon in motion and play action. McMahon hiding it. Braggs in pursuit, and he's got a man wide open. Moorhead for another first down to the 40-yard line of Green Bay. McMahon showing that ability to hide the football and look almost nonchalant, as though he's just watching the runner who doesn't have the ball.
That's
Murphy
right.
and Scott force him out of bounds.
You're exactly right. He can look off. Watch where he cradles the ball here now after he makes the fake. He puts it on his hip. He's just looking away and then starts to run. He spots Moorhead wide open, and the Bears have another first down. Good play, heads up by Jim McMahon, and Moorhead makes the grab.
They're down to the 31-yard line. The 41-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. In motion is Walter Payton this time to give us to Suhey, and a diving tackle by Byron Braggs, the third-year man from Alabama. Now, Braggs has not exactly gained a huge amount of respect as a defensive end in the NFL, getting to start when Mike Butler jumped to the USFL and Casey Merrill was sent away by Bart Starr, but he's played well today.
Look at this. Suey would have had some running room there. He would have gotten 3 or 4 or 5 more yards if Braggs had not made the ankle tackle from the offside of the line. Good hustle by number 73.
The entire Green Bay defensive unit has really been impressive so far in this football game. 2nd and 9.5. Payton in motion. They give it to Suey. Suey behind Payton, and Suey picks up about 6 yards. Tripped up by Ezra Johnson, and number 56, Cliff Lewis, playing for Mike Douglas, who is the suspended linebacker for disciplinary reasons. Walking out of a meeting and skipping a practice on Monday, and then talking about it to the local media. So he's in San Diego today.
Okay, here comes the big call. 3rd and about 4.
Jolly and Osteen are in the secondary. Spears and Boyd are in for a 4-man front. At the 35-yard line. 9:52 remaining 3rd period. 3 wide receivers in for the Bears. McKinnon, Galt, and Marjorie. Inside the Payton. Payton got the ball. McMahon diving for it, and he came up with it. Jim McMahon. Boy, there was a gutsy effort by the quarterback. 2 big Packer linemen going for the loose ball, and McMahon stuck his nose in there, and more importantly his hands, and got the ball.
Stopped and fumbled and recovered by McMahon.
Little inside handoff to Payton, who never seemed to really get control there as he cut back, and the ball just came right out from behind his elbow. Here goes McMahon. He's got to beat out 2 pretty big guys there to get the ball, and he was able to snare it.
Mike Jolly was the guy who had the best shot at it for the Packers, and it looked like Boyd might have just accidentally knocked the ball loose from Walter Payton. So a break for the Bears there, and they've had a few breaks, but they'll have to punt it nonetheless. Parsons at midfield, a high snap, and he brings it down well, angling for the corner. Fair catch signaled by Epps at the 10-yard line of Green Bay. So Parsons does the job. And one will wonder if McMahon may have hurt himself a little bit, or his hands in diving for that loose ball. We'll hopefully find out when we return.
Chevrolet, taking charge.
When you buy a dependable Chevy Chevette, you'll find you can also afford some of the other good things in life.
Morris back in Green Bay. Cloudy skies prevailing here. The Green Bay Packers have the football at their own 10-yard line, following the excellent corner punt by Parsons of Chicago. Gary Ellis runs into traffic at the line of scrimmage and got maybe a yard. You see Todd Bell climbing out of the pile. St. Louis in front of the New York Giants 7-6 in a titanic struggle. The Rams in Philadelphia. Look at these Eagles. Last week played Washington tough, and now they're giving the Rams fits today, and the Eagles going nowhere. Washington, whoa, boy, what a job on Atlanta in the 3rd period. The Redskins. New Orleans trailing New England in the 4th quarter. So the Saints really need it, having problems there. A pass out intended for Jefferson, and he was looking inside. Dickey threw it outside. Frazier on the coverage. Incomplete. 3rd down and 8.5. Buffalo in front of Kansas City 7-6 in the 3rd period. Look at this, Johnny. Houston. Well, they had to do something this season, didn't they? Maybe they're going to beat the Miami Dolphins today. They lead 17-10.
I understand Earl Campbell had over 100 yards in the first half. Cincinnati doing a job on Pittsburgh 20-3.
Steelers having their problems. I wonder if Bradshaw's been in that game. We're trying to find out. 3rd down and 8. Dickey and the receiver Philip Epps fell down on what is probably a little slippery turf. There was a flag down in the backfield, however. Epps tried to get up, and he was open, but could not recover in time to make the catch.
Yes, it would have been a first down. The pass was right there. However, there is a penalty flag, and so it would have been called back anyway.
Penalty. 4th down.
Carl Swanke called for holding, so they'd be punting anyway.
Well, that Packer offense is really wound down here in the second half. 1, 2, 3 punt twice in a row now.
Bucky Scribner in the end zone. McKinnon at the Chicago Bears 45, waiting for the punt. Here comes Gentry trying to get the block, but Scribner got it away. McKinnon from his own 47, and nothing but a sea of green shirts in front of him. And McKinnon got about a yard on the return. Good coverage by the punting team of the Green Bay Packers, but fairly good field position for the Chicago Bears. They'll start first down from their own 49. Johnny Morrison, Green Bay, a 7-point differential, 2, 6, and 7 teams still with a chance to win their division title. A critical head-to-head matchup today. The Packers and the Bears. Chicago ball from their 49. McMahon can't find a man open, goes to Suey, but a bad pass, and it's incomplete. McMahon, a little late, it appeared, looking over for the release man, then rushed the pass, didn't give Suey much of a chance to catch it.
They had Payton in motion that time, sent him downfield, but McMahon couldn't find him. Here's Suey, number 26, out as a safety valve as the Packer rush starts to close in, and McMahon dumps it off, and he can't quite hang on. So now we have a passing situation.
2nd and 10 from the 49-yard line of Chicago. 21-14, the Packers lead. It's an outstanding defensive play in the first half. Walter Payton, and they shut him down with Cliff Lewis making the initial contact. Randy Scott, number 55 there, a gain of about 3 for Payton. Houston and Miami are now tied. The Dolphins climbing back, Dan Marino at quarterback. And they are into the 4th period tied. And Miami, of course, if they can win, would go to 10-4. And Pittsburgh, losing, could fall to 9-5. And the Dolphins have wind up with the best record at this point in the AFC. Marino hit Matt Moore for a 28-yard touchdown to tie it. 3rd down here out of the shotgun for the Bears. 3 wide receivers. And it is complete. It is Willie Gault, number 83, on the far side of the field with the coverage by Mark Lee, number 22. And a first down, big play there for McMahon and Willie Gault, and the Bears at the 35 of Green Bay.
And Mark Lee slipped a little bit as they come out of the shotgun, and Gault went down and in, and Lee slipped on his coverage, allowing just enough time for the pass completion. You could see him getting up just in time, but he was playing off a little bit because obviously Willie Gault can run by you in a hurry, but that was a key play to keep the drive alive. Willie Gault.
We've seen a little bit more slipping as the temperature appears to have gotten a little lower and the day's gone on. 14-yard pickup for Willie Gault, his 3rd catch of the day. Pressure on McMahon, gets it away, and Gault cannot hold on to that one as Tim Lewis gave him a pretty good wrap from behind. The rookie from Pittsburgh, the Green Bay Packers' number 1 choice, getting to become a starter with the injury to Mike McCoy.
Pretty gutsy coverage by Lewis, wasn't it? He's covering Gault down the field. He didn't give too much as Gault got down there about 12, 14 yards. And he comes up on the coverage and wasn't too far away from an interception here. He's very tight on the coverage. Tim Lewis, number 26, has 3 interceptions since he's been playing, doing a real good job.
2nd and 10 from the Packer 35. Number 26, Tim Lewis. Bears come out in the I formation. Suey the lead back, and they have Marjoram in the slot left. Look at the Gault in the slot, and they're going to give it to Gault on the reverse. He's got some running room. McMahon gets a piece of a block on Scott, but Welch could not get it turned upfield. He picked up maybe 3 yards on the play. Murphy and Anderson, 37 and 59, forced him out.
Now you're going to see the action going to the left with Payton handing back, and they caught the Packers a little off guard, but you see some great hustle by the Packers to recover down there, and there were too many people on the outside. McMahon did throw a good block, but Gault was forced out of bounds. And it's ironic, both these teams, neither one of them have blitzed at all hardly today.
3rd and 10 with a 4-man front and 2 extra backs for the Packers. In the shotgun, they have Moorhead on the wing. McMahon forced out of the pocket. Runs it up close to the first down, but short. Tackled from behind by Dwayne Osteen, number 44, one of the extra defensive backs in there. About a 9-yard, well, let's call it an 8-yard pickup for Jim McMahon. A dangerous runner at all times. Indeed, he's got 272 yards coming into today's game. Last week had 74 against San Francisco.
It's going to be 4th and 2, and the Bears are not going to go for a field goal. They're going to go for the first down.
The ball is is at the 27-yard line of Green Bay. Bob Thomas has not been super from any distance this season, so Mike Ditka evidently feels that they've got a shot at picking up the yardage. Play action. McMahon trying to find an open receiver, and it was almost intercepted. Saldi trying to help him out, and the ball knocked away by Wingo, and it'll be first down for Green Bay. A lot of things happened on what was fairly simple play, Johnny. They had only one receiver downfield in the initial play, and then when McMahon went out there, he had only one man to look for. I thought he should have run the ball.
Yeah, actually his best option would have been to run, and for the Packers, it's a good thing they didn't intercept because it was a fourth down play, and it had the ball 10 yards further down the field. But there was Moorhead. He's looking for Moorhead, who was covered, and his best shot here would have been to run, but then he tried to throw, couldn't get the zip on the ball. Green Bay has it, so they still lead by 7, and the Bears...
Giving that Miami score earlier, we overlooked the Raiders' record in the AFC. They're 10-3, of course, atop the AFC in the overall standing picture. First down for the Packers, taking over on the fourth down miss. Ooh, what a lick on Gary Ellis by Mike Hartenstein, as Ellis had nowhere to go except right into Hartenstein, and Hartenstein really straightened him up. Looks like Mike might have hurt himself too. That Ellis is a tough guy, 220-pounder, and he has had himself some kind of an afternoon. Gary coming over from the Los Angeles Rams as a free agent. What a fun.
James Lofton hasn't been too much of a factor in this game yet, has he?
Second and 11. No, he hasn't. You think he might be here? Is that what you're getting at?
They're going to double him. You can see Richardson coming up.
Straight drop for Dickey. Just got it away in time. Complete to Epps, who juggled the ball but held on for a Packer first down to the 46-yard line. Frazier and Otis Wilson back there on the coverage.
Got to give some credit to Dickey here. They get the pressure on him, and he stood his ground, and waited for Epps. Feel the pressure there. He still gets the ball off, and Epps juggled the ball, but hung on to it as Leslie Frazier makes the tackle. That's the Packers' first successful play in this second half. There's another look at it. As you can see, he found the hole in there.
21-yard gain. Dickey is 9 of 23. That's well below his average. First down, going deep for Epps. He's got it. Philip Epps inside the 10-yard line.
What a perfect pass, and the key was Duerson, 22. Richardson got beat. Duerson's the free safety. He watches the quarterback, but it was straight down the sidelines, and Duerson cannot get over in time. He cannot get over in time, and Epps makes the grab, and a beautiful play by the Green Bay Packers. Had that been a goal or a post type of pattern and had brought the receiver a little bit to the inside, then Dave Duerson could have knocked it down, but Dickey threw it to the outside and kept it straight up the field. It was a big play.
45-yard gain for the second-year man from TCU, Philip Epps. First and goal, Packers. They lead by 7, trying to lengthen it. Fumble. Ellis dropped the ball, and the Bears drop it, and now it's finally Singletary picks up the ball again, and he drops the ball. It's recovered by Green Bay. Is it still alive? No. It's going to be Chicago ball, and there are two Chicago Bears face down, including Singletary, who was hurt at least somewhat after his second try to pick up the ball, and Otis Wilson, who is still face down. Well, a lot of things happened on that play. A scramble for the loose football. Singletary trying to pick it up and run with it, nearly coughed it back to the Green Bay Packers.
Well, you talk about a turnaround in a big hurry after the big play to put him in scoring position. Here comes the fumble as Ellis is, the ball is jolted loose. There's Singletary, number 50, trying to pick the ball up, trying to pick it up, can't get it. Finally, he gets control. Oh, we can't keep it going with it, but anyway, it's going to be the Chicago Bears football. Otis Wilson still down on the field.
Made the tackle, and the ball was recovered by the Packers, but it had been ruled dead. on the tackle by Ellis on Singletary. Otis Wilson has left the field. It appeared that he injured his arm on the play. The Bears have the football at their own 25. McMahon on first down. The ball is deflected. Almost intercepted by Green Bay. Byron Braggs tipped the ball away, and I believe it was Cliff Lewis who had a chance to catch the ball.
Randy Scott, I believe.
Randy Scott.
Moorhead reached back to kind of jerk him a little bit so he couldn't hang on to it, but it was Braggs who deflected it. Now here comes Scott, and then Moorhead hit him just as the ball got there and prevented the interception.
Heads up play by Moorhead, and a good effort by Braggs, who's having himself a fine afternoon. A sometime maligned defensive end. Here really the third defensive end to play the position this year for Green Bay, with Butler and Merrill gone. Second and for the Packers, and a fake pitch out there with pressure on McMahon, and he gets it up to McKinnon, but he can't hold on. Incomplete. Now, was that a busted play, or do you think that was supposed to be a fake pitch out to Payton there, Johnny?
I think it was supposed to be that way, but Saldi fell down. I think Saldi was the original receiver, but he was supposed to go out in the flat there for McMahon, and he got tied up on his fake block.
Well, they did have two receivers over there, so that would appear to have been the way the play was supposed to go. But, of course, Saldi, like some other players in the last half hour here of time, have been slipping more on the turf, which seems to be getting more slippery.
Let's see if they try Galt again on that about 10 or 15-yard turn-in.
3rd and 10. 2:20 left in the third period. Bears need the first down. It is almost intercepted by Mark Lee. Ken Marjoram, the intended receiver, number 82. And the Packers saying, hey, that should have been offensive pass interference. But Lee did a good job to knock the ball away, and Chicago will have to punt. The Packers continue to be very steady defensively. Parsons, standing at his 11-yard line, steps at the Packer 40. Ball comes down at the 41. Epps eludes the first man. Flags are down as he got to the 44-yard line, driven out by Calvin Thomas and Brian Cabral. Flag down just after he caught the punt, so it may be a penalty against Green Bay, a blocking infraction. Let's wait and see.
Green Bay has been one of the least penalized teams in the NFL this year. That's one thing that's been a real plus for them. The Bears have many more penalties this season than the Packers do.
Face mask called against Green Bay. That's kind of unusual.
Let's see if we can spot it here.
That's Prater, number 51, right?
Well, he signaled the wrong way against Green Bay. It should have been against the Chicago Bears.
Well, we saw that's Kelvin Atkins, number 51, and it appeared that he had the face mask on, and now they are marching it off against Chicago.
51, 5-yard face mask.
So it is first down at the 49-yard line. As we look at the college football action next Saturday here, you'll see either Division I AA semifinals, Western Carolina and Furman, or Nevada Reno against Southern Illinois. In some parts of the country, the Division II championship game, Central State of Ohio against North Dakota State. It all starts at 12 noon next Saturday and is followed by NFL action as well. So you've got quite an afternoon of football next Saturday here on CBS. Atlanta and Miami at 3:30 Eastern Time will follow the college action. And then we've got an injury timeout here for the officials. One of the officials was hurt on that last play, the punt return. And he's getting some attention from the Green Bay trainers. And I believe that is Ron Spittler.
Looks like he might have had a knee injury.
Number 79 it is, and that is Ed Ward, side judge. So these guys have tough afternoons out here as well. They're caught up in the action, literally.
Well, you know, when there's 22 players running around there, you got to be heads up.
2:05 remaining third quarter. First down, Green Bay. They lead 21-14. Dickey on first down. Sideline locked and complete. Richardson and Bell on the coverage. First down for the Packers.
What beautiful timing between Dickey and Lofton as Lofton faked the up pattern straight up the field. Same thing except with Lofton this time he just turned to the outside and the pass was right there as Richardson was playing for the deep pass.
Jesse Clark brings in the next play for Green Bay. The ball is at the Bears' 37-yard line. Al Harris has come in for Otis Wilson, who was injured a couple of plays back. Al Harris, number 90, and at linebacker on the defensive end for the Bears. Quick drop by Dickey and a quick sideliner complete again for another first down to Jefferson. Leslie Frazier on the coverage. So Dickey hitting his wide outs with the sideline passes.
Over to the other side, Leslie Frazier on the coverage this time as he hits Jefferson, and I'll bet you I know who they're going to go to next time. And that's going to be Mr. Kaufman or Ellis out of the backfield.
First down at the 25-yard line as the Packers are driving here in an effort to increase their lead. They got to about here before, and Ellis fumbled the ball. This time he holds on, but he is stopped after a gain of about 2.
Well, it seems like this whole football game has been played in Chicago Bear territory, doesn't it? As you think back, except for that one long drive that they had right before halftime. Otherwise, most of this game has been played in Bear territory.
Green Bay has had the Bears in check all day. Dickey not having a great day statistically. He's 12 out of 26 in the passing department, but he's rolled up 239 yards. McMahon is 13 of 25, 194 yards at this point. 87 of that coming on the Bond with Galt. 3 wide receivers in for Green Bay on 2nd and 8. Ellis takes it out the left side, and he is hauled down by Dewerson. But again, getting some mileage out that left side. He broke a big one early in the first half, a 71-yarder on a similar play.
Good call by the Packers because they had the 3 wide receivers out. They took their beef out showing the pass, and they just gave it to Ellis, and he almost got the first down.
Miami has gone in front of Houston now, 24-17. Houston leading that game most of the way. And Tony Nathan has taken it in for the Dolphins, trying to get to a 10-4 mark. And time winding down here to complete the third quarter of play. And the crowd giving the Packers applause. That's the end of the third quarter. With it enjoying the lead at this point as we begin the final period. Otis Wilson on the sidelines defensively with a bruised shoulder. Al Harrison in his place. Third and a long yard, and it is first down. Huckabee breaks a tackle and gets inside the 10. Harlan Huckabee pulled down by Dave Dewerson, and a big Packer first down inside the 10-yard line of Chicago.
Boy, he absorbed a hit by, I believe it was 25. Todd Bell came up there to hit Huckabee, and he just hung onto the ball and spinned right out of it. There's Todd Bell, 25, trying to make the tackle, and Huckabee does a good job. Gets out of it. Nice running.
First and goal for Green Bay as we are just underway in the final period of regulation time. We have to say that. The Packs been involved in 4 overtimes. There's the pass to the corner, and it is intended for Lofton, incomplete. And he went up to talk to the fans on that one. There's not a lot of room in that corner once you get out of bounds here at Lambeau Field. Wilson has come back in the defensive lineup for the Chicago Bears, replacing Al Harris, so he's apparently all right. It is second and goal. And Wilson, as they go into their special defense here, gets a rest.
Well, the Packers went for it, didn't they? First down on the 10? Oh, yeah, it was first down on the 10. Went for the pass right off.
Second and goal. 3 wide receivers, 1 setback for Green Bay. Pitch out. Huckabee makes a tackle. He'll score. Touchdown. Second touchdown of the afternoon, and the Green Bay Packers that lengthened their lead. 27-14. John Stenerud in for the point after. And the Bears now battling the Packers and the clock. The losing team today, an unlikely playoff team. It could happen. It's not likely. The winner, if it can go on to win the next two, could wind up winning the division. And the point after for Jan Stenerud makes it a 28-14 game.
And the Bears are really frustrated with themselves because you can see 99, 76, Hampton, McMichael, Hartenstein were all over there to make the tackle, and not one of them got him. As he just turned back, and there they all are, and he just slipped right through them, got through Dave Duerson, went into the end zone for a touchdown. The Bears actually had that play defense, and it was superior running by Huckleby that did it. He cut back very nicely.
He's carried the ball 5 times today, Harlan Huckleby, for 28 yards, but he's got 2 touchdowns. On the near sideline, it is Bashnagle dropping the ball out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Now, was he out of bounds so that they have to kick it over, or did he touch the ball inbounds and knock it out, and they'll have to start from the 12?
Well, since he threw the yellow flag down, I think he's going to say that Bashnagle caught it and stepped out of it. I mean, that it was out of bounds.
And
he'll have to kick over.
Ball out of bounds. They're going to kick it over.
Right. That's it.
Otherwise, the flag wouldn't have gone down.
That's right. The crowd's not real happy with that. Let's see where he was here. Number 84, left of your screen. He's got 1 foot on the sideline.
I haven't seen that. Yeah, that's an interesting call. I haven't seen that happen. The ruling is that...
well, they said
the ruling now is that it was out of bounds and that he was standing out of bounds when he caught the ball. That's up to conjecture, but that's the way it was ruled by the official.
Well, he was out of bounds for sure before the ball actually touched his hands. He had his foot on the sideline.
Okay, then right? I'd have to agree with the call.
So he's out of bounds, and then the ball came down, and it is ruled an out of bounds kickoff. So the Packers will have to kick it again from the 30-yard line. But you could conjecture around with the equity of that call as well. The Packers wind up getting a 5-yard penalty. Comes down at the 20 this time. Willie Gault. He gives it to Todd Bell. Todd Bell, indeed, on the reverse from Gault, and he gets it up to the 37-yard line where Estes Hood forced him out of bounds.
So the Bears try a little razzle-dazzle to get back in this football game as Gault hands off to Todd Bell. They almost had it set up. They caught a lot of the Packers inside, but Johnny Gray is the one who forced Todd Bell to go a little deeper to get around the horn, and that's what really saved the play. Hood is in on the tackle, too.
And they spotted at the 41-yard line of the Bears, so they get good field position start, but they've now got to make things happen if they are going to get back into the ball game against the Packers, who have been very solid defensively today. First down. Green Bay trying to keep pressure on. Be consistent. And they've got pressure on McMahon and good coverage deep. Ezra Johnson has the sack. At the 35-yard line, a 5-yard loss.
Ezra Johnson. And McMahon really threw that ball away after he was tackled. He was lucky that they didn't call anything on him. Here, as you'll see, McMahon, Gault got downfield way out of McMahon's range, and by the time McMahon spotted him, he couldn't throw it that far. There's number 90 on the chase. McMahon trying to get around the horn, and down he goes, and then he whipped the ball away. With the clock running, that's not supposed to happen.
Second sack today for Johnson. 2nd and 10. McMahon to Saldi wide open, and Saldi out of bounds at the 46-yard line. It'll leave a 3rd and about 4. Mark Murphy, the safety, number 37, pushed him out.
Before this game, Mike Ditka said that the Bears are going to have to score at least 28 points to win, is the way he had it figured. Well, he's pretty close, wasn't he? The Packers now lead at 28-14.
Well, again, the Packers, who have surrendered 2 big leads the last couple of weeks, I'm sure are determined not to let that happen to them today. They're in front again. They've been in front all the way. And their defense has played awfully well. 3rd down. Big play here for the Bears.
Here comes their first blitz.
Incomplete. Intended for Walter Payton, off his fingertips. A hurried throw by McMahon. And the Packers do the job. The blitz having its effect. And Chicago will have to punt.
That was their first real all-out blitz. And it put the pressure on McMahon and made the pass be a little bit off target and forced the Bears into a punting situation. Still 13:20 left in this game, so there's a lot of time in this football game yet.
Epps at the 21-yard line for Green Bay. Parsons at the 32 of Chicago. Epps from the 22. Trying to get wide. Turned inside by Dunsmore, and Dennis Gentry able to make the tackle, number 29, at the 31-yard line of Green Bay. We have 13:09 remaining regulation time. Green Bay with a 14-point margin, 28-14. Graphically, and it is first down for the Green Bay Packers at their own 31-yard line. They are in command here and trying to stay in that position. Mike Meade, number 39, picks up about 3 out to the 34-yard line. Mike Hartenstein, number 73, making the tackle for the Chicago Bears. Otis Wilson continues in the linebacking core of the Chicago Bears, having left earlier with a shoulder injury. Bears defense playing with some sore legs. Hartenstein and Hampton both hurting, but they have played all the way today. Second down, and that is Jesse Clark, and the Bears swarm in, just rolling over the offensive line of Green Bay to drop him for a 2-yard loss. Osborne and Hartenstein doing an inspired job on the left side of the Bears defensive front.
And particularly Osborne, number 68. He just got across the line of scrimmage and bumped the guards, the pulling guards for Green Bay, and destroyed the play. Jim Osborne.
It'll be 3rd and 9. Bears with a 3-man front here on this 3rd down play. They've got Singletary and Wilson in, and now they move some of the linebackers and even the backs up onto the line. Dickey on 3rd and 9. Up the middle, and it is complete to Jefferson. Dickey made the perfect call in that situation. And it is first down, Green Bay at the Bears' 40-yard line, where Walt Williams pulled down Jefferson.
Excellent play by Dickey as he spotted Jefferson, who was being shadowed by number 43, Williams. If he'd thrown the ball up and over, Dewerson, 22, would have been able to help, but he threw it to the inside, more of a line drive shot, and Williams made the tackle. But Dave Dewerson is down there deep for that long pass down the middle, but 2 or 3 times now Dickey has thrown it short of that deep zone, and Dewerson has no effect at that point.
27-yard gain. Gary shakes a tackle. Gary Ellis shakes a tackle and gets out about 5 yards on the play. McMichael, number 76, made the tackle there. It'll bring up 2nd and 5. But Lynn Dickey delivering on a 3rd and 9. One of those little plays you'll look back and say it was a big play, because they want to keep the ball, keep it away from Chicago. And 10:40 with the clock moving here in the final period. And they call out about a 4-yard gain, so it's 2nd and 6 for the Green Bay Packers. And the run by Ellis. Short drop, and it's up there for Jefferson, and incomplete. Just overthrown. Leslie Frazier trying to catch up with J.J. Jefferson. It'll be 3rd down.
I'm sure that was an audible call, a check off at the line of scrimmage by Dickey, because he saw Frazier come up tight on the coverage on Jefferson. Checked off, and just Jefferson knows to go straight down the field, and he's got him man for man, and he has a slight step on him, but the pass was just a little bit overthrown.
Bears add Williams and Schmidt to the secondary on 3rd down. The ball at the Chicago Bears 38-yard line. Wide pro set, slot formation with Kaufman in the slot on the right side for Green Bay. Then they give it to Ellis. He's got a hole, and then the Bears close it down and stop him short of the first down. Mike Singletary reacting well, and Dave Dewerson coming up to make the hit. So the Bears do the job defensively on a 3rd down play by Green Bay in Chicago territory, and Scribner will come in to punt. Scribner will stand back of midfield at the Packer 49. McKinnon at the Bear 10. 9:50 the clock. Now a big factor for the Chicago Bears. They almost have to score on their next possession. And Scribner will try to start them from deep in their end, and the ball is fielded by McKinnon, but he goes out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Did that ball have bounced into the end zone, Johnny? What do you think?
It might have. It looked like he almost grabbed it and jumped out of bounds like he was trying to stop the clock, but I think it was one of those punts that was, he thought it was going to stop right there down on a 1 or 2, and he took it and jumped out of, I don't know what the thinking was there, but anyway, the Bears are going to have bad field position.
It'll be first down from the 5-yard line, and the pressure squarely on this young man, Jim McMahon, when we return.
This is Thunderbird's optional articulated seat. It adjusts to the driver's thighs, the position of the hips, the angle of the back. It even has a fully adjustable lumbar support. This seat improves the way you feel behind the wheel. And the way you feel in Thunderbird improves the way it drives. Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Here's to good friends tonight.
Hey, chicken and ribs. Chicken and ribs. Check. Steak.
Let's say
Check.
something more somehow.
Chili. Homemade chili. Good work. Wait a minute. What did you bring besides your lips? Just a little something I threw together. I should have known.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Lowell Brown.
Okay, everybody. Let's go win this one.
Play action from the end zone, McMahon. Out to Suey, who made a fine fingertip catch off the turf and gets out close to the first down. He was stopped there by Cumbie and Lewis. It'll be second at about a yard.
He had Galt going deep on the deep out, and he had Suey coming out here in the flat, and Suey just made a super catch on this ball. He had to reach down there and pick it right up off the grass top, and almost got a first down.
That gets them out to the 14-yard line. Second and a yard, wide throw set, Suey and Payton. Pass almost, well, not almost intercepted, but it was knocked away by Cumbie, intended for Willie Galt. George Cumbie, number 52, got a hand on it.
Interesting that Cumbie was actually coming out there in that zone to cover Walter Payton, who was coming out in the flat. And, of course, here comes the ball, and boom, it's almost an interception.
But he did a nice job there. He cut the angle to the ball awfully well. And that was a big stop. Third and a yard. Well, here's the play of the game for the Chicago Bears. 8:56 to go. That's a lot of time on the clock, but you look at kind of the trend of the game. Green Bay's played well defensively. They would need some big plays and big breaks if they can't keep it going here. Payton driving has the first down. When in doubt, go to number 34. Rich Wingo made the play defensively for Green Bay, but the Bears keep the ball. The ball spotted at the 16-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Out to the left goes Dennis McKinnon. Out to the right, Willie Galt. Payton was up to 58 yards rushing and 16 carries. McMahon, complete. Tight end Moorhead, I believe. Make it Matt Suey, pardon me, out of the backfield, number 26. And it is a gain of about 6 yards on the play. Second and 4. They're shuttling receivers in and out every play.
One thing for sure, they're going down the field piecemeal, 4, 5, 6 yards at a time.
Second and 4 from the Bears' 22-yard line, and McMahon lining up Suey, a yard to the left. McMahon trying to find an open man, he is sacked. And it is Cliff Lewis. Well, that young man is going to remember that play for some time. Blitzing in, something they've done rarely today. Lewis, the substitute for Mike Douglas, the suspended linebacker, making his first start and a big sack.
Yes, and McMahon, the key to that was that he just couldn't find anybody open. And Lewis came off of it and makes the tackle. Good play by Cliff Lewis.
Third down, a loss of about 5-6 on the play. And it'll be back at the original line of scrimmage. So once more, they're faced with a big play. Slot left out of the shotgun. McMahon trying to find coverage, somebody open against good coverage, and he just slings it for Galt, and that is incomplete. Osteen and Jolly were down deep on the coverage, but more importantly than their double coverage on Galt was there was nobody else open. So this much maligned Green Bay defense is doing the job here this afternoon.
And the Packer fans are coming to their feet, a lot of them giving the Green Bay defense a real hand, and well-deserved. They have bottled up the Chicago Bears, a defense that has been much maligned throughout the entire season.
Parsons standing at his own 1-yard line, exit midfield to Green Bay. Good kick by Parsons. Fair catch signaled at the 46-yard line. So the Packers will start in Bears territory. 6:58 to go in regulation time. Green Bay football. And they have a 28-14 lead. Lynn Dickey will bring him out and try and use up some more of that clock. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris back in Green Bay where the Packers have a first down at the Chicago 47. And now the Chicago defense has got to make something happen if they are to get back in this game. Green Bay wants ball control. They give us to Mike Meade, and Meade picks up about 6 yards off right tackle, running behind Kitson and Greg Cook. And as you can see in the fourth period, St. Louis ahead of the Giants by 1. The Rams in Philadelphia, some low-scoring games today, 6-6 in the fourth period. There's a high-scoring game, 37-14. The Redskins, the Super Bowl chance. Look at this, the final in New England really hurting New Orleans' chances, 7-0. Strange football game. The New Orleans Saints fall to 7-7 in that West Division race with the Rams in front. Second and a long 4. Jesse Clark, he's got a hole and is going to be very close to the first down. Tripped up by Bell and McMichael, with Singletary as usual in the thick of things. Buffalo in front of Kansas City 14-9 now in the fourth quarter. And Miami came from behind to beat Houston 24-17. Team rises to the top. Look at this one, Johnny.
Cincinnati 23-10 over Pittsburgh. Boy, the Steelers are kind of falling apart. They're now 9-5, and Cleveland is playing later on today, right at Denver. So Cleveland could move into a first-place tie with Pittsburgh in that AFC Central Division.
Well, they measure. You see that the victory by Miami moves them to 10-4, and the Raiders at 10-3 with the top record in the AFC. As we commented earlier.
You know, in this situation right here, you got to hand it to the Packer offense. The defense has played well all day, but the offense here, the Bears know they're going to run the ball. They're trying to eat up the clock, and they've gained almost 10 yards in 2 plays when everybody's going for the ball and playing the run, and they're still moving it.
So the Bears have Richard Dent, Dan Raines, and Kevin Potter in the game on this third and very short. 5 down linemen trying to stop this.
Goes to the outside with
pitch, and they're going to throw Ellis to Kaufman, and is intercepted by Frazier, and he's got room on the sideline. Dickey's flattened with 1 block. Frazier still going. Frazier still going inside the 25-yard line to the 23 of Green Bay. Well, a razzle-dazzle play on 3rd and a foot. Backfires against the Packers. Tim Huffman finally made the tackle downfield, but Leslie Frazier with a second interception has kept the Bears' hopes alive.
I'll tell you, the Green Bay Packers just put the Chicago Bears back in the game. That's got to be the worst call I've seen in a long time. When you're ahead by 2 touchdowns, you got 3rd and a half a yard, and you're eating up the clock, and you throw this kind of a play. What good does it do you to win 35-14, and take the risk of giving the team a chance to get right back in the ball game, and Frazier ran like Walter Payton on this play. He bounced off of tackles. He almost went all the way. The Packers finally bring him down, and the Bears are right back in the game. If they score here, Bart Starr's going to commit Harry Carey, I'll tell you.
McMahon rolling left, has a man open on the sideline, Willie Gault, and it'll be close to a first down, about 9.5 yards on the play to the 15.
Here it goes, back across level. You're asking a man who hardly ever throws a pass. He did throw the pass okay, but he's not used to watching coverages and watching where defensive backs are. And Frazier comes up with a super play. The Bears are down to the 15-yard line, 5:23 in this game. If they score here, this, they're right back in the hunt.
Credit to Frazier for being where he was on a play that had everybody going to the right side, a pitch out to Ellis, but he was going to make sure that receiver was covered. And there's Jimbo Covert, eager to get things going for the Bears, and Cliff Lewis, the linebacker, giving him a little bit of a what for after Covert had made contact, and that penalty will be against Chicago. So instead of second and less than a yard, it'll be second and almost 6.
Offense, false start, 74.
Frazier made a 56-yard return on that interception. The second of the afternoon. But the Bears offense now has to make something happen if they are to get closer to Green Bay with 5:23 on the clock. The Green Bay defense has been very, very steady all afternoon. Second down. Screen pass to Suey, dropped the ball. A flag on the play, but Suey a little too eager to get upfield with it. Took his eyes off it and dropped the football. Who's the penalty against?
Well, it was thrown in the area of where McMahon was releasing the ball, so it's holding on the Bears.
On the Bears. So now Chicago hurting itself here as they had been given the chance to get back in it on the odd call by Green Bay, the interception by Frazier. And it's marched back to the 30-yard line.
Holding, offense, number 34.
Walter Payton called for holding.
6 penalties against Chicago for 54 yards this afternoon. McMahon currently 17 of 32 in the passing department, 231 yards, but those numbers don't mean anything, and you're down by 14. McMahon on second down. Can't find an open man. They've had good coverage, and it's dropped by Moorhead. Emery Moorhead, the release man, actually did not have anywhere to go. He was surrounded by Packers, but the Bears coming up with a case of the dropsies here all of a sudden and not helping the cause. Third down.
I would say the Bears have dropped at least 5 passes today that I can remember. And there's a man who never dropped a pass. And he's keeping very much under control.
Well, let's see what he does after third down if they don't get the first down. Because this, I would say, is the last hurrah. 5:12 on the clock. McKinnon, Marjoram, and Gault. The Packers, remember, have not been generous defensively. They have not made mistakes. McMahon for Marjoram, and no, it is. Is it? Yes, it's a catch. Kenny Marjoram caught the ball when he hit out of bounds. He dropped it, but the official on the play has called it a completed pass. He was knocked out by the Packer defender. And let's look at that one again.
Well, they're going to be talking about this one for a long time.
We have had some sideline calls today, haven't we?
Okay, here comes Marjoram. Let's watch him now. What a suit. Just to hang on to that ball. Here comes a knee, 2 knees down. I'd say then he loses the ball after he goes out of bounds. How are you going to call that? He was down in the field of play.
Yes, I would think that that's a good call. It's the official who made it, at least, was right on top of it. Whether the ball hit the ground or not underneath Marjoram, that may be in dispute. Suey, touchdown. So the Chicago Bears have climbed back into it. They had a couple of breaks, to say the very least. They got the break on the strange call, a pass by Ellis on 3rd and a foot, in Bears territory. The interception by Frazier, a 56-yard return. And now at least what we would term a disputed call on a brilliant effort, we should not forget, by Ken Marjoram to the 1-yard line. And the fans are trying to pelt the officials with some snowballs from the seats here at Lambeau Field. Ooh, Thomas nails the point after. And it is 28-21 with 5:02 on the clock. And the Bears now have got themselves back into this football game.
We're going to take another look at Kenny Marjoram's catch. The young man from Stanford who hasn't been playing all that much lately, lost his job to Dennis McKinnon, was very upset about it. But this one here is the one that set up the touchdown. It's really a super catch.
Not a bad throw either, but
no,
he stretches out. Now
his knees are down. I think the question is, his knees were down before he landed down on the sideline, so that's got to be a completion, except for the call of the contact with the ground there. You should follow through with the catch. That's going to be a disputed call.
I would say, what a great effort by Marjoram, and a fine pass by McMahon, and certainly a big play pass for the Chicago Bears. 24 yards in 4 plays. Mind you, the Green Bay Packers had their own destiny in their hands with 3rd and a foot in Bear territory. But we have had some fun, some excitement, and some strange happenings in this football game, and we've still got 5:02 to go. 2 6-7 teams who can win the NFC Central, and they must win today. The winner of this game is still alive. The loser is probably not. Huckabee returning the kickoff, trying to get wide, and a good job by Huckabee to the 40-yard line. Harlan Huckabee. Gary Fensick made the tackle. Getting in on the special teams action. Fensick, who says he's ready to go back into his safety role in the Bears secondary.
Here's a wider view of the catch, and I think you will see that his knees do go down.
My question would be, does the ball touch the ground underneath him as he falls here? And I don't think that can be determined. Now, the official, as you can see, has the best view of anybody.
He's got a perfect view.
Although he
I think he's rolling as complete, and then he slid out of bounds and lost the ball. I think that's his ruling.
Okay, first down for Green Bay. They have the lead. Mike Meade is dropped right at the line of scrimmage by Gary Campbell, number 59. Leslie Frazier, number 21. There'll be a gain of maybe a foot. 4:36 to play. 28-21. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers want to keep the ball. I don't think we will see that kind of a play in a similar situation on this series.
Well, I'm still amazed at that call. Is that Snelker who called that?
Well, now he's the offensive coordinator, but we won't know for sure. We can only assume that. Second and a long 9. Dickey to Lofton, complete for a first down. Big play, Dickey to Lofton to the 45 of Chicago. Frazier on the coverage. Perfect pass.
Frazier was all over him. I don't know how Lofton maintained his momentum and concentration on the ball, because Frazier was there on the coverage, but Frazier didn't see the ball coming. He's 21. He's watching Lofton, and he makes a super catch. Now they've got the first down. The clock was stopped. They got to eat up some clock, I would say, wouldn't you? 4:08 if the Packers want to put the Bears in a real bind. So that dictates run.
First down.
Can't believe it.
Dickey wants to throw, and he just throws it out of bounds as the pressure was on, and J.J. Jefferson was the man in the area, but Dickey clearly just threw that one away.
Well, that time he tried to call an audible. The Bears were jammed up for the run, and Dickey says, well, we're going to go to the audible, the outside one-on-one coverage. Almost got himself in another bind. They would have been better off to eat the ball and maybe be stopped at 2nd and 9, but at least the clock would be running.
Well, still, when he released it, though, you knew he was just throwing it out of bounds.
But you don't know how close he came to throwing that short out first.
2nd and 10. 4:02 on the clock. Bears defense trying to rise up and stop. There's a loose ball recovered by the Bears. Singletary again. Singletary running with the ball. Gets to the 42-yard line of Green Bay. And it was Richard Dent, number 95, in on the 5-man front, who forced the ball loose. And the the Green Bay Packers must be smelling self-destruction again. Could it happen 3 weeks in a row? 3:55 on the clock.
It almost seems like destiny, doesn't it? There comes Dent, number 95, with the tackle. And Singletary gets it. He recovered one last week. And he wanted to run for pay dirt. They finally get him down, but the Bears have the ball at the 43.5-yard line of Green Bay.
That's his second recovery today. Both times he tried to run with it and was lucky the last time that they called it down and he fumbled it. McMahon on first down, wide open is Moorhead. Moorhead inside the 20 of Green Bay. Hold on to your hats, folks. The 19-yard line, a Bears first down with 3:40 on the clock. And this Green Bay defense, which has played so well all day long, now facing the serious pressure.
Moorhead was so open, wasn't he? Wide open.
19-yard pickup for the Bears. 2 offensive miscues by Green Bay. And their defense, which has carried the day, now has to do it here. McMahon, incomplete, intended for Marjoram, trying to get Marjoram coming back, as again the Bears have had problems in finding open receivers, which is credit to the secondary of Green Bay today, because while they have had a couple of sacks, they have not had tremendous pressure on McMahon. It looks just as though they've been doing a fine job of coverage downfield, Johnny. You see McMahon looking almost every pass play. 2nd and 10. So let's credit Mark Lee and Johnny Gray and Mark Murphy and rookie Tim Lewis. They've been outstanding today.
Let's look for an offbeat play here.
Moorhead in the slot to the right. They fake the pitch in. He is buried by Ezra Johnson. His 3rd sack of the afternoon. Nobody touched him. Number 90, Ezra Johnson with a big play. Now the Bears in another difficult 3rd down situation.
Okay, it's the fake to Peyton, and they're going to go with, looks like, the wide receiver screen, and somebody messed up because nobody was ready for the reception as Ezra Johnson got through there slick and clean, number 90, who's really been a key for them on defense. See that? Nobody's looking for the play. There must have been a mistake by the Bear offensive receivers there.
Noah Jackson tried to pick up Johnson belatedly as though that wasn't his man at first. Now here's the big play. There have been several. This is just one of them. McMahon running away from pressure, and he tried to get it to Moorhead, and the ball slipped out of his hands. It's a forward pass, incomplete, 4th down. The ball just slipped off his fingertips. I'm not sure Moorhead had very far to go. I don't think he had any chance at first down yardage. But it is 4th down.
Well, the Packers couldn't get much pressure that time. The Bears kept a few people in, and you can see McMahon, well, we pick it up a little later, but it looks like it just... That's what you call a submarine pass.
Life's embarrassing moment.
Yeah, this is it, too. 4th down, the old ball game.
Once more, obviously he couldn't find anybody open downfield.
No blitz from the Packers. They're going to go with a straight 4-man rush and drop everybody off.
Shotgun. Has time. Has McKinnon. McKinnon is short of the first down at the 11-yard line. He was short by about 2.5. John Anderson, the linebacker, made the tackle, number 59. And so the Green Bay Packers, the defense, does the job. 2:23 Packer football at their own 11.
Well, this is one time that the Green Bay defense has helped out the Green Bay offense this year. It's been mostly the offense doing most of the good things, but today it's been the defense. This time you're going to see McKinnon come across. McMahon started to run again, throws a good pass. They stop McKinnon from getting the first down, and now it's going to be up to the offense to eat up some time. The Bears have their timeouts remaining, and they're going to get the ball back unless the Packers can get a first down.
2:23, what a finish. Green Bay with the football. First down pass. Holy smokes. Do they believe in that one? Lofton made the catch for a gain of about 6.
That's what makes football great.
Listen to the boos. You think the crowd is booing the call?
I think with what's happened in the last few minutes, they're a little shell-shocked, and they're worried about an interception or something going wrong.
My point. Exactly. It's going to be a 5-yard game. Let's call it 5.5.
I'll bet they run this time.
Oh, boy. They sure make it exciting. Second down. They give us to Jesse Clark. He is straightened up nowhere. Lost probably a yard on the play. The Arkansas rookie had nowhere to go. Number 33. Todd Bell came up from the secondary, but it was Steve McMichael who filled the holes.
Timeout.
Timeout is called by the Bears with 2:09 on the clock. And it'll be third and five, pardon me. Third down and 5 for Green Bay. Dent and Keys have come into the ball game, and Osborne and Hampton have come out for the third down play. Keys, I believe, is in for the first time today.
Yeah, he's been in a little bit.
Has he? He's been bothered with a back injury and didn't get the start, so they just spotted him today. Well, as we come down to a 2:09 situation on the clock, 28-21 Packer lead, you can see what this means. You can join us along the way. Chicago and Green Bay dead even at 6 and 7. Detroit and Minnesota play tomorrow night. And oddly enough, only in the NFC Central. If the team wins here today, whichever team wins and they go on to win their next two, they can still win this whole thing.
And you know, another thing that we should mention is that for the winner of this game, the wild card situation has improved considerably. With New Orleans losing, Atlanta losing, the Rams are going to win that NFC West. Then there's San Francisco. They still have to play. The wild card situation has all of a sudden improved for the Central Division.
That's right. Good point, Johnny. And as you can see, the Bears will be at Minnesota next week. The Packers will be at Tampa, and they will meet again in a rematch. It'll be hard for them to top this one because we have had all kinds of strange happening and lots of excitement in this football game, and it'll be hard to duplicate it or top it in Chicago on the 18th of December.
Here's a key call in this football game. Third and 5.
We have had one key call after another in the last 4 minutes, and I agree with you. Slot right. The Packers come out in on third down. There's Dickey getting time, and his receiver fell down. It was Jefferson, I believe, the intended receiver. A flag is down at the line of scrimmage, and it was the running back Clark who was the intended receiver. Jesse Clark, number 33, and he fell down.
It's against the Packers.
Like the call is against Green Bay. Well, you know, you can add up a whole season of bad luck.
Offensive holding 67. Decline the penalty. It's fourth down.
Any bad luck that the Bears can point to over the preceding 13 games this season has all been wiped out here today. They have had nothing but good luck this afternoon, and they're still behind on the scoreboard. If the Packers win it, boy, they will have earned it because they have not had a break.
You know, I think that entire series only ate up about 15 seconds on the clock. That one pass and
Scribner, a high pass from center, and he line drives and end over end punt, and McKinnon's got some room. McKinnon, he's only got the punter to beat. He's got a block. Dennis McKinnon, touchdown. No flags. What a crazy game.
It is unbelievable. He caught the ball on the fly, made one key move over on the sidelines, and then there was only Scribner left to make the tackle, and that was a mismatch because he wasn't going to tackle Dennis McKinnon. There's Bart Starr.
This is an unbelievable thing. The Green Bay Packers, who have self-destructed their last 2 games, may be doing it again. Here it is again. A short kick, and McKinnon, when he caught it, knew he had a lot of room to go. 59 yards. Richardson blocked the punter. McKinnon took it in. Thomas with a point after. We have a tie football game. 1:50 to play. What an unbelievable turn of events. Everything good that can happen to a team has happened to Chicago today. The Green Bay Packers, who have been valiant defensively, have had nothing good happen for them. And here they are with 1:50 remaining and looking at overtime right in the face again. They have lost their last 2 in overtime. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris back at Lambeau Field. Mike Ditka shakes Dennis McKinnon's hand, and here's a young man who has not had himself a good afternoon until now. He dropped a couple of passes early. earlier. He made a bad judgment on a punt that left the Bears with a first down at their 5-yard line, but he makes the big play to tie the game. And there's an open field tackle, a loose ball, but it had been whistled dead. Simmons made the tackle. I believe it had been whistled dead. Yes, it had. Green Bay ball. Now, wouldn't that have been something? That would have been Bears ball. Huckleby made the kickoff return and got to the 22-yard line. And one more time.
Another thing, remember, he had fumbled a punt too and gave the Packers possession.
Right.
He had fumbled a punt and here was the great run. And he had Scribner dead to rights and Richardson with the block and Dennis McKinnon. That's how you go from the outhouse to the penthouse. That's right, in a big hurry.
Well, maybe the doghouse. Either way, McKinnon made his coach forget everything else that happened to him earlier in the game. Remember, we are tied, staring overtime in the face. Ellis. Another thing to remember as Ellis picks up about 4, Keys makes the stop, is that last week the Green Bay Packers were trailing Atlanta, having popped up an interception to send Atlanta in front. And Lynn Dickey drove them down the field in as pretty a 2-minute drill as you will see to force overtime, which they subsequently lost. But Dickey and company can move the football in a hurry-up offense. 1:16, second and a long 5. Deep for Lofton. He has him. Duerson in pursuit. He won't get him. Yes, he will. Duerson with a desperate lunge knocks him out, but at the 6-yard line. 1:04 on the clock.
This is one of the best football games I've ever seen for excitement. Unbelievable. That pass was thrown, and Lofton didn't even know it was coming at the time. He turns his head at the last second, and Dickey put it right on the dime. It looked like he was gone for a sure touchdown down the sidelines, and Dave Duerson, number 22, ran him down from behind and pushed him just out of bounds, and that's got, Lofton's got a lot of speed. You got to give Duerson some credit, but the Packers now in commanding position. Do you think they'll throw on first down?
I don't know. I wouldn't predict anything in this game. 67-yard play. Dickey to Lofton. Now, he didn't use the hurry-up offense. Well, in a way, he did. He hurried himself all the way down to the 6-yard line. 1:04 remaining.
Sure, he's told everybody, hang on to the ball.
They don't want to go to overtime, that's for sure. They don't like overtime. They've lost 3 of 4. Jesse Clark gets to the 2-yard line. Green Bay, second and goal from the 2-yard line, just outside the 2. And this, despite the score, will be remembered by an outstanding defensive day for the Green Bay Packers, last in the league in that department. Their defense has done the job today. The offense has made life difficult for them, but now the offense may win the football game.
This should be off the left tackle to center of the ball.
Clark is stopped right at the line of scrimmage by Mike Singletary, number 50. If they give him forward progress, it'll be right at the line of scrimmage. And they do. Third and goal. 13 seconds and counting. Dickey talking to the official, but the clock is still moving. What's happening?
Take the field goal. They better call a timeout.
All right. Well, he was standing right there with him, so I wasn't sure he was watching the clock. But I couldn't believe that they were going to blow that.
They didn't quite get the ball centered because Clark dipped out off the tackle and went over to the left hash mark, so it's going to be in short with the sharp angle for Stenerud, but he's a pro. He's been around a long time, and he should make this.
Stenerud missed 2 earlier, but they were from much farther out, 48 and 45.
The key guy is going to be number 72 behind the line of scrimmage for the Bears, John Janetta, 6'7".
Chicago and Green Bay are tied at 28 with 3 seconds to play. It's been an unbelievable football game. The Packers led until late in the game. The Bears tied it up, and it is now an apparent Green Bay victory. It is. The clock has expired. And Jan Stenerud with a chip shot field goal has given the Green Bay Packers one of the most thrilling victories of the entire NFL season. 31-28. They did not want to go to overtime, and they did not.
And there's Bart Starr and Mike Ditka both rushed out on the field to congratulate one another. They have great respect for one another.
The first meeting between Dickey and Starr as coaches. They met each other many times as players. Here is Stenerud. Stenerud, who missed earlier from farther out twice, makes this one and moves to within 2 of George Blanda's record, which is not on his mind. The Packer victory is 31-28. What a football game. The Bears tying it up on a punt return in the final seconds of the game, under 2 minutes, and then the Packers with 2 big plays. Lofton going to the 6-yard line. Stenerud kicks the winning field goal, and the Green Bay Packers at 7-7 are very much alive to win the NFC Central Division. The Chicago Bears, believe it or not, are not mathematically out, but it would take a number of strange and wonderful circumstances for Bears fans to see their team win from this position as they fall to 6-8. So the Packers, who have had an up-and-down season, losing their last 2 games in a row in overtime, come up with a big one here this afternoon and keep their hopes alive for a playoff spot in the National Football League. What an afternoon at Lambeau Field. We had just about every conceivable thing happen in this game. And as you see the standings now with Green Bay at 7-7, Detroit and Minnesota play tomorrow night, head-to-head for first place in the Central Division. And, of course, I would say that every Green Bay Packer player, a member of the coaching staff, will be paying close attention to tomorrow night's telecast.